Hello and welcome to Benno and Hamflett in Your House, podcast reviewing WWE's iconic New Generation B-shows in order from the bust back to the boot. I'm Michael Hamflett.
And I'm Benno. I'm Michael. I was going to say, are you ready? But that feels a little bit cheesy. But are you ready, mate, to dive into this show today? Which I feel like at some point we're going to break the intro to the podcast, but I don't even think it's the word New Generation that I'm be taking issue today. It might be iconic that I might be taking issue with today as we get ready to... The thing we should be ready for, and the thing we should be ready to break down to take the entire thing, it's whole hog. We are looking today at In Your House... Disqualification X, I think we should probably call it. I feel like Scott Keith or Finn Martin or somebody probably came up with that point. But they can't all be classics, mate. But I'm happy to chat it with you today.
Yeah, we've sort of like we've reviewed cursed material over the years, haven't we? But it's funny this, like, as I was reading that introduction, I was thinking, I'm almost dreading switching out New Generation for Attitude Era, and we've all got our reasons and our lines about where the lines of demarcation and things like that. So it's like it was nice to think of this one as a New Generation show, but and I don't want to jump ahead to what we thought of it, but I think most people listening might have some idea, or they've watched it themselves and they've jumped to that conclusion for themselves as well. When something stunk to this extent in the New Generation, it was funny seeing the crap with such a gloss on it. It's quite different when you're watching quite grisly and grim crap, isn't it? Like, that you're leaving the New Generation because when you're watching a show that's really not up to par, they'd put neon polish on it. They do everything to tell you it's as you would always say, it's the pig flying through the air in The Simpsons. It's still good. It's still good. It's still good. There's a different air to this one not being. It's almost like sort of. Yeah, we don't know either, but stick with it. We think it'll work. We think it'll work. There's definitely an optimism, but it's not exactly childlike and wide-eyed at this point, is it? It's more cynical and sneering. It's very odd atmosphere.
Oh, I'll tell the listeners, usually in our little chat on WhatsApp, if I get a long message from Michael, it's usually, he's in the middle of the homework and you're excited about something we're covering or something like that. Or if it's the Grapple Hall of Fame show, it's to give me grief about some of the things that I said and did. But maybe more about that later in plugs. We'll get there. But this one, it was just that was pretty much what your text could be summed up to watching it. And I felt that exact noise. That was the emotion I felt just getting ready for this show. And I said to you, it wasn't even remembering the specifics of the show. It wasn't remembering the specifics of any of the finishes or the matches. It was just the general feeling of the time, which is mad because as we got closer to the show, and check out the last two housekeepings. We did do a double housekeeping if people haven't checked them out already. It was all very exciting and it was all very, apart from the bits where it was depressing, but mostly it was oh no, it is still good. It is still good. Maybe it's not quite as depressing as my memory is, but I think it's exactly that. It's the feeling of the time of reading Finn Martin's review or just the general conversation at I'd say nascent internet, but there's people who are on fucking ICQ in 1991 or whatever who'll give me grief for that, or AOL or whatever who'll give me grief for that. But in those early kind of, at least for people our age, kind of conversations, proper, felt like the doldrums, felt like the end, which is so funny when you covering what we're covering week to week, and we also, because we live in the future, know what's coming. But I still had that feeling, maybe from your message, but maybe just from the emotion of the time, be this show. To be fair, it kind of pays off, but it is funny. I like that it's more the emotion I remember than anything else.
I think, yes, thank you to everybody that persevered with the two last housekeeping. Me and Benno, it might surprise you as listeners and viewers to know this, but we are too aware that when we are going long, I can sometimes feel the physical weight I've just put into your phone when I send you one of the housekeeping lists over a WhatsApp list. And I'm oh God, he's going to be absolutely raging with this. And it's a labour of love. This is it. We enjoy going through it. And obviously the TVs, we've talked about this for, about a year in our timeline now. We're just getting, it was about a year ago, wasn't it? The first particularly dense housekeeping where we're Christ, they are packing stuff in. But again, it's just a contrast. You made a great point on one of the prior housekeepings that just, even when we would have been giggling away at whatever Degeneration X were up to, or the spin around Bret Hart's exit from the company, or even one of the sort of the rise of the New Age Outlaws and what an impressive feat of booking it was to elevate them in the way they did. Yeah. The darkness, the dark heart of this confused WWF was inescapable, wasn't it? It was there was sort of a grey, sort of scary thundercloud, and who doesn't look who doesn't enjoy looking at like an electrical storm? You know, but electrical storms, in this case, Shawn Michaels, they do damage. You know, they zap trees or they knock down telegraph poles or whatever it is. You know, it's like it's dangerous to be outside in one. But you love being behind a pane of glass looking at it. It's just like that's kind of watching this specific run. Like you need in Steve Austin the bright, bold sunshine to clear the clouds. But at the moment, you're more marveling at the electrical storm and the danger of it. And I think when a show isn't very good and it's more dangerous than fun, you're a bit like, oh, am I witness to a crime here? Rather than doing this as a podcast, do I need to report this to the police? Like it was just there's an ickiness, isn't there?
That's just what we did to Kurt Angle in the World Cup show as well. But anyway, I'm trying to steer Michael away from that. But you're right though, like, and it's also like watching a horror movie in it, but like 30 years too late, because you're like, we're gonna get to it obviously as we go through the show, but it's like, okay, obviously Steve Austin's the good stuff to an extent, you know, DX are the good stuff with obviously the caveats that we often mention. Somebody said that on the Grapple Discord this week about Shawn Michaels, where we're just like, you know, he's a bad boy, but we can change him, and then at the end of the conversation we go, yeah, but we don't really want to change him. That's kind of our relationship with Shawn Michaels and DX. But it's very clearly the good stuff. And then it's like, you know, somebody comes out to do a fucking Brawl for All tribute match maybe that we're going to talk about today. Or the fucking Gang Rules boys come out and it's like, how is nobody there? Just recognizing that this is clearly the bad stuff that you've got to chop away to get to the good times. But again, maybe it's that feeling of watching a horror movie. We know what the big baddie is. We know what the happy ending is. And like I say, it's just hard to tell the people in 1997. Let's blame Jim Cornette. He's always an easy scapegoat.
That is it. You're right. Like the screaming through the soundproof window, through the glass or something like that, where the person's about to be murdered, but they can't hear it. Like, what are you saying? What is that? Yeah, it's push him.
Listen to Vince Russo. Well, maybe not on that stuff. Maybe just that stuff. Yeah, it's kind of that feeling, isn't it? But
I mean, you mentioned Jim Cornette, as if to illustrate just how like wild this is. I messaged, you know, we'll peek behind the curtain here a little bit. Obviously, tends to be that I have to kind of like pack the homework in a little bit ahead of time, and you like to watch nearer to when we sit and record. And I kind of woke up in a panic this morning and realized I'd forgotten to watch the pre-show. I'm really glad I did. I managed to sort of watch it on my lunchtime today, because in this strange Todd Pettingill era, sending Jim Cornette of all people out there to be like, are you ready for In Your House? Are you dead excited? A month removed from him cutting these like barbed work shoot promos about the state of the industry, and like Shawn Michaels is a stupid idiot and X-Pac throws up on himself and the NWO dickheads and all that. Who's excited for Degeneration X? It's the weirdest. What a tonal shift from like, well, just basically Jim Cornette is so often the best talker in the industry. Here, he reminds you that Todd Pettingill was a pretty good one too. Like not everybody could do Todd's job.
Never mind that as well, though. Like, I don't know if you had this noted down, but is Jim Cornette the first person to come out to DX's music? Because I think he is. Like, because he literally comes out. That might be a trivia question somewhere. As he comes out, expecting him to do crotch chops and stuff as like Break It Down hits, and he's just strutting out there in his suit. Like, yeah. Like, I feel like Pettingill might have been able to pull that off. But no, as you mentioned, obviously, he might as well get right into it. He kicks off the fucking free for all on this one, which I did manage to get in for my sins as well today. In between, speaking of electrical power storms, viewers' choice blackouts on the version that Chris Platt of Grapple Parish did manage to pull for us. But like, I think that was just a thing back in the day when you're watching stuff. In between the barker, particularly Jim Cornette in this particular case, trying to tell you to call your local cable operator or satellite operator to get on. You also had to deal with the weather patterns that could affect things. But he's very proud to be there. But it's Simpsons references a go-go today, Springfield, Massachusetts, you know, and he's going on about how you need to get a crowbar to get an extra person in there. And so, and again, is it the doldrums or not, Michael? 6,358 people here in the building. You know, it feels like it's busy times in Springfield, even if he has to go out there and beg for people to watch.
Yeah, I couldn't make my mind up on this crowd. For those that haven't seen the show, the entranceway, we bring it up. You know, we like our aesthetics on this one, but we bring up the death of the house, much missed RIP. But this was a one and done DX entranceway, which I did quite like. For years, I will say, I drew little DX logos in Tipex on my pencil case at school or on my bag or whatever, or like I carved it into like desks with a little compass in maths, or like, and I did it with a lowercase d. even though from memory this was the only time they ever had a lowercase d. But I found this visual of the lowercase d with the big X so impressive that it sort of stuck. I think other than one other time, they did like a Christmas Raw taping in the Lowell, which were the Lowell, Massachusetts venue that's got those gorgeous Art Deco balconies and stuff, where Shawn lost his smile. They did like one tape in there, and we'll maybe get to element of that on the next Housekeeping, but that was obviously too small to put the Titantron Raw set in, so they used the X portion of it. But other than that, like this lowercase d is one of those, when everybody wants to go to the warehouse and ask for certain props, and like, where have you stored like a 30-foot lowercase neon green metal D? Like, what are you doing with that? Like, is Triple H put that in his garage or something like that? It's like really sort of, and we'd obviously come to see later on why they didn't have a ramp, and why there would be a very good reason, a practical one, why there was no ramp, no metal, the usual thing that we've become accustomed to on Raw. But every bit of this, it felt small again. I thought like the sellout is great, but 6,000 is not 10,000. What was it, like 20,000 at Hell in a Cell? Remember that one? That was absolutely stacked, wasn't it? Like, I don't know, this one looked as if they were running a pay-per-view there by accident rather than it. I mean, I don't recall ever seeing them run this place again for pay-per-view or like something like of this kind of stage.
Yeah, it feels like somewhere where like they had the date booked and they were just like, we'll use it for a pay-per-view instead. Yeah. Like that's definitely what it feels like. And you get that with these in your house ones. Like it tends to be the explanation when they're running like these random towns. But I should say as well, before we get to them, you mentioned the DX stage in there. Like the other thing I very much enjoyed on this is like on the intro, like we get like the two adverts, one of which I'm sure will put us the bumper for the audio version of this show, where they're playing like the DX theme. And obviously, the pay-per-view we're about to discuss today is pretty much DX's version of NWO Sold Out, but it's like literally the copy in the homework, and it's like the DX theme with like a voiceover just over and over again, just going sexy. I'm like just throwing little words in us. Shawn Hunter doing some Triple X. No, his name's Triple H. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's proper. It really is like someone's gone, all right, we need the NWO here. Let's just do this, and we'll make them black and green instead, and we'll give them a shit entrance way too.
It tells you where they're going, doesn't it? Yeah, like that Triple X instead of Triple H, and then like it just ends with like, I apologize for listeners of a sensitive disposition here. I'm going to do a voice. Like this woman who at this point is just like turned on to these like orgasmic throes of pleasure from Triple H and Shawn Michaels alone. Like the last thing you hear from her is going, "Degenerate me," and it's like not everything has to be fucking like. And they're not called depenetration X, despite the pointing at the cocks every single. I get it. We all get it. But it's like it's almost like strapping you in for the next 3 years of WWE, really, isn't it? They're priming you on. This is quite a long way removed from like If Life Were Fair and all of these incredible like black and white video packages that have weaved together. Was it SummerSlam where it weaved together the Shawn, Bret, and Undertaker stories, and like the WrestleMania one being about how it's like a dangerous place now and all this sort of stuff. It's just like sex, point at your knob. Triple H's is massive. Shawn's is even bigger. Bret's gone and he's never coming back. Watch the show. Like the Sold Out thing, like we can't, I don't know when the best time to bring this one up is, I guess, but like of all the bits of homework to copy, they got what they deserved here. They copied like the homework of one of the worst pay-per-views of 1997 in WCW's most profitable year. And like, it was roundly criticized as this like thing that did not work. It was dysfunctional, like by design, and the fact that you had all these heels that were just dominating every match, and the style of it looked ugly, and it didn't reflect how WCW had become for a minute the number one wrestling company in the world. Like it did the opposite of all of that because of Bischoff's obsession with this idea that the NWO was going to become its own like organization out with WCW. Like WWE got what they deserved here. They wanted to rip it off. Shawn and Hunter were probably desperate to be like, well, you've had one, Scott and Kev and Shawn, so we want one as well. And they got it. They got their wish, but it's like at what cost, isn't it? Like, let's, it's not like sort of taking Nitro's formatting and thinking we can tweak that and we can put some Fed Sparkle on it and we can make it even better. It was like, you see that really shit thing they've done? Like, we can do that as well. And that's what materialized as a result, isn't it? Like, they're both shows, like they bookend 1997 and they both stink.
And it's literally like you say, like on record as like, WCW is like a bad pay-per-view buy rate for the sold out show. The Nitros where the NWO took over. Again, me as a kid thought it was the greatest thing ever, with like the NWO guys on commentary burying matches and nothing really happening, and it just going to ad breaks and randomly just being everything NWO colored. But like, yeah, people were tuning out in droves. Like, I'm just shocked we didn't at some point get Vince McMahon doing like an Eric Bischoff talk show segment or something like that, where he took over and took over an hour of Raw or something like that altogether, like their worst rating of the period as well, which is another one of WCW's mistakes. It's a completely like baffling one to kind of copy. But I mean, I'd say one of the positives of the pre-show that we do get here, we get a bit of and again, it's the positive when we get into the show itself pretty much, is the Rock Austin recap video we got on the pre-show, followed by the Rock coming out, and he's he is fully the Rock now, obviously, which he's reminded us to call him these days. He's got his Planet Hollywood jacket on. Could he be Planet Hollywood Rock? Maybe we could christen him that. He throws out the first, I think, People's Champion reference here on the pre-show as well. He's making references to his pager going off again. Like, he's putting the pieces together here, Dwayne. And like, if I was watching this and I was, on the edge, like Jim Cornette has said here, maybe he would convince me to spend some money on this show.
It's funny, isn't it? Because we talked a lot on this podcast about how almost like show by show, Steve Austin would put a little bit more of it together, and you could kind of see you could see how he was thinking, all right, I'll do that again. And the bits that he would drop the bits that didn't work, and he would add the bits that would, and he would enhance them. And that is still like an ongoing process for Steve Austin. He's still amazingly as white hot as he already is. It's incredible that he's still actually on the way to becoming the final form. He's still not quite final form Steve Austin. And I don't want to speak for you, but I imagine for you, that's what's the most exciting thing about it, is when, like we talked about in the last Housekeeping, when he stands on that truck and he drinks the beer for the first time. It's pretty, like, if you'll pardon the sort of the pun, it's pretty electrifying to see Austin do that and then realize, oh my God, I'm going to drink beers every time. They love this. They love me as a guy that drinks Budweiser, so I'm going to drink Budweiser. The Rock does it so much faster. He does a speed run of Steve Austin, quite carefully deciding what he wants to add to his act and what he wants to take away. The Rock joined the Nation in like September. We're in December. Rocky Maivia, should I say, joined the Nation in September, and we're in December. He was the guy. Do you remember, like, when we covered Ground Zero, and he was a guy there to be in the ring to catch the Undertaker's dive? In his nice shirt, but basically,
like, you don't matter.
Member of the Nation. Yeah, He works the sixth man at Bad Blood, where he already is starting to steal focus from, it was Karma and D'Lo, wasn't it, that night? And then here, as if to illustrate the point, they're still I love the detail that everybody in the company is still calling him Rocky Maivia, and he's having to correct them each time. Because, like, what dickhead comes up with their own nickname? Like, how relatable is that?
Yeah.
Like, if somebody, can you call me that, please? Well, no, we're obviously not going to do that. Like, where he forces that through. Like, Cornette says, accompanied by the Nation of Domination, and they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
He's just gone into business for himself.
I thought he was furious about that.
Yeah. Like, so many cool character sort of moments as he kind of goes along. He does the it was the first People's Eyebrow, but he doesn't cap his promo off with it. He's doing it as he's like on the stretch. He hasn't really got what he says, Steve Austin, I'm going to embarrass you. Why? Because The Rock can. It's not, if you smell what The Rock is, like, every little bit of it is still just piece by piece by piece coming together, but he's just doing it so quickly, and it's really impressive, isn't it? Like, it's I know, like, we have a laugh sometimes, especially when, like, Matty's on, about Austin's paranoia, the paranoid rattlesnake. But it does make you wonder, even as like early as December 1997, how much Austin's getting like a bit tetchy about, like, you better belt me up, Vince, because this guy's on my heels already.
Like, Brett's gone, he doesn't know it yet, but Sean's probably on the way out soon enough. It's like, hang on, who's this knobhead coming through the cracks? Like, literally, that's what's happening. But that's, speaking to our conversation earlier, like, that is what's happening, isn't it? It's like, there is this drabness that's kind of filling these shows in the absence of, the people who've left, in the absence of the Hart Foundation, who's especially on this pre-show, does feel quite strong, doesn't it? Because usually it's fucking them all over the pre-shows, isn't it? Because they're the ones who'll turn up for work and do it here. But it's, taking advantage of your TV time. time, as people often say, and that's what Rock is doing here. I mean, outside of that, on the pre-show, we have Michael Cole doing a card rundown, in which we get this a lot through the show. Maybe we'll talk it later. Keeps putting over Jeff Jarrett's in-ring debut. More on Jeff in a second in a special attraction match, but we get a DX and Sergeant Slaughter recap video in there as well. We get a shot of Kevin Kelly and Don Callis, the New Japan commentary team. Cyrus, not Cyrus, quite the virus yet at this point. The Jekyll there in the AOL room as well, and it's the Jeff Jarrett promo, really, isn't it? That takes us home on this pre-show, on this free for all. There isn't much else there.
The Jeff Jarrett promo is yet another stinker. You know, he's our guy. I want to praise Jeff Jarrett, but like you can already feel this run dying on its arse like that. I've got all the time in the world for the entrance theme for this brief era of Jeff Jarrett, except for the bit that like they've insisted he do a voiceover that he himself doesn't sound that committed to. Like there's a lot. He's
not beating the coming from the man from the future allegations. It sounds like something like Running Man or some kind of futuristic sci-fi, doesn't it? But it's Jeff's voice. Like
Jeff's shoot promo on that Raw. He felt like he was at pains to sort of explain why he was like, like the cleverest guy in wrestling. But then I'm always very wary of people that if like, it's one thing to be the cleverest guy, but if you're the cleverest guy in a really stupid room, are you really even that clever? It's like when wrestlers would say, like Val Venus, like, oh God, that guy was switched on. And then like, kind of look where we're at now. Kane, what a smart fella. And look where we're at now. Was it just that the locker rooms were kind of thick sometimes maybe? Because Jeff records that line. Books. The way he's performed this line, like, I swear some of this is set up to fail. I got thoughts when we get to the match. But the way his line read of, there's all the WWF superstars, and then there's me. Does he realize that sounds like they're taking the piss out of him? Like that.
Honestly, like everything about it, like he feels like he's trying to get it. We were talking about it, weren't we, on the Raw, and Shawn Michaels confronting him and all of the shoot comments and stuff. Like even here, like he gets those lines in. He gets his line in about you've got to pay for the strut, so you got to wait for the pay-per-view for that. I enjoyed that a little bit. It was a bit of the old Jeff sneaking through in like this weird, pristine, slick back, futuristic bit, isn't it, Jeff? But like the biggest thing for me is when the Undertaker's music hits and like he just no sells it. It's like, have you not been watching telly, Jeff? I think you're supposed to be scared of this, and then you get the shit. Speaking of voiceovers, the shit spooky Undertaker voiceover again. We're about to hit 1999, folks, and we're doing 1995 Undertaker stuff. But even so, if you're going to do it, like the correct reaction is to self-fear, and Jeff just talked over it. He's not asked at all. I'm certain he got taken to Wrestlers Court once he got backstage.
This was mad, wasn't it? He's like, you're right, like Undertaker's messaging's proper throwback to like New Generation 95, 96 of like, welcome back to the WWF where I'll take your soul or whatever it was. And meanwhile, Jeff, he's just talking like, come on then, dead man, I'll see you on the pay-per-view. Like, shut the fuck up, Jeff. Like this is already not going well. The only thing I will say, that first look, I'm a sucker for this like gear. The singlet does not work. The jacket, genuinely, I wish he'd kept, because that Double J logo was effectively the keeper, wasn't it? That stayed. True. Like that stuck around forever, that little JJ thing he had. I mean, he looks like a pillock, but I love it anyway. Those ginormous shoulders that he's got on his Aztec Warrior Jeff Jarrett jacket. It's on its arse with him already. Like I can't work out if he knows it or not. Jeff is the kind of bloke where he performs with such gusto that you can never quite tell if he knows he's polishing a turd or if he thinks this is my rocket strap era. This is where I get my run, because you could argue that when he actually got his run in WWE and TNA, it was just as shit as this, but he didn't seem to realize that, so he just went with it anyway.
Yeah, he's the type of bloke as well. I'm sure he's got that jacket like somewhere, because I feel like an indie guy today could wear that jacket. Like somebody could turn up on like a Dynamite or a Collision wearing it and it'd look fine. Yeah. Pass it down. What was the robe they used to pass down in TNA all the time? Was it Paul Romer's robe? The one that everybody would have. Like, and you'd have it in WCW, you'd have it in there. I think Bobby Roode ended up with it at some point as well. But yeah, maybe that could happen in future for Jeff. There's a little idea for him. But he kind of closes it out here on the free for all, doesn't he? And there's not much else to it.
There's got to be an indie wrestler with the initials JJ that can like borrow it off him and work a cluster.
Got to be one.
Something, isn't there? Joey Janela. Oh my God.
There you go. Joey, if you're out there, find yourself this jacket, mate. It'd be perfect for him in one of his big WrestleMania weekend shows or something like that. Could be done. But yeah, outside of that, there's literally not much fat on this free for all, which pretty much takes us into the main show. And obviously, as is tradition, before we get into the main show, do you need to for the last time, Michael? It feels like, or at least for the last time in this form of VHS cover, we do need to have a look at the old school in your house VHS box. And behind the scenes, we did consider, as it is the last one that they did put out, maybe making this the end of season 1 of Benno and Hamflett. But it has, as with most things, Fred, at this point, the timelines are kind of mixed, and we've got a mix of different eras going on TV, which makes sense to have a mix on Benno and Hamflett and a mix on this VHS cover, mate, which is like all the ones we've pretty much talked about in season 2, what they've all got in common. The poster that makes up it, Shawn Michaels in the blue, really fucking cool. The poster that did the rounds, the one that we were promoting the show with, great. Even like the back image, it's pretty much the DX t-shirt, what will become the DX t-shirt, isn't it? The end of, inspired DX logo on top. And then somebody in the department was just like, let's slap on the pink, blue, and yellow, which as much as me and you love, Michael, not sure it completely works.
No, again, it's in a state of flux. We recapped the first ever Attitude promo on the last Housekeeping, but it's not as if the scratch logo has made its way to the screen yet. Outside of the adverts, there's a promo coming in the next edition of Housekeeping from Vince McMahon that kind of is where the company at large makes that move stylistically. So you can kind of understand where they're coming from with this one. You're right. I love that. I'll tell you what I really like about one of the million things I like about the original incarnation of DX around this time is like how little they lent on the neon green. When they made the comeback and they had that crap spray paint logo and it was just green glow sticks and green, and it's fine. I get it. Like I like colors in wrestling. I like the idea that you've got your palette sort of thing. But I don't know. It's a bit like I can't remember if I brought this up on the last Housekeeping we did, but it's like that. That the Andrew Dice Clay spot about like the WWF telling Hall, Hogan, and Nash to bring an NWO t-shirt for the photo shoot, and then they all brought a different NWO one because it wasn't made clear. And Hall had an NWO 2001, and Nash had a prototype, and Hogan had the real deal, kind of typical of Hogan to get the actual branded correct one. But like they'd all just brought their own one, and they're like, this will have to do this. I like that this will have to do quality of the original DX. Like you say that about that logo, Shawn and Hunter never effectively merchandised this logo. That was when the four of them got together, wasn't it? You can picture the four, like the DE. It makes my arse twitch seeing that as a DE instead of a hyphen because it's not finished yet. Yeah. Sean's picture being blue instead of green. There's so many things that eventually the Fed would tighten up on because they're a massive babyface act. And you're supposed to make the money. You're the recognized symbol of excellence. It's what you do. But this is so fresh. This is so just out the oven. That like they're not sure what looks the best and they'll just do any of it, and I like that. And then as you say, you look at the spine and you're like, part of me wishes it was still 1995. I'm like, I'm in secondary school now, and it's scarier. There's year 11s that look like they want to kill me. Like I think I preferred it. A couple of years earlier.
It was a more innocent time, as it was in our real lives as well. But no, totally it is. It's literally as we keep talking about, the clash of two. Even the fact that the video is a 15 as well, like that too, just feels wrong. Like, why is it a 15? I'm trying to think, like, what's on the show that'd make it? Is it the glass? Is it the car spots? I'm trying to think what would make it a 15. Usually obvious, isn't it? But that's a strange one.
Based on the sort of what would be the societal, what's the diplomatic way to say this? Societal norms of the time, maybe. I can think of one promo that might have worried the BBFC that came about halfway through. That might have had them asking a few questions about what constituted PG and what constituted 15.
Yeah, that'd be the one that had me rewind when I was 13 watching this. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's but again, it looks odd because it's on like the very child-friendly, lovely in your house old school logos. But as you said, Michael, we're saying goodbye to them on the VHS cover, but we won't quite be saying goodbye to them on the shows themselves yet. There will be random T-shirts and random background images, and they haven't quite got all the way there yet. But we'll be chronicling it more on the next Housekeeping as they try and put Attitude together.
I do like that. That's it. And this is the thing. It's still intoxicating to me that it can even be a middle ground. Like now, if they rolled out a logo, it's going to be day one perfect, isn't it? They just simply don't make these kind of enormous changes without kind of having everything pretty much good to go. I love how clumsy it is. I genuinely really, really do. I think that's how you go about making actual changes. Is that it shows that you're taking gambles and risks, doesn't it?
makes it all feel a little bit more organic. But as we noted earlier, like I say, they've gone blue on the VHS cover, but on the pay-per-view, and Shawn Michaels' entrance gear. We'll get to there later. They do know green and black and a bit of black and white is the order of the day as we kick off the pay-per-view again with the DX recap video. We obviously had our first proper on the pay-per-view look at the DX stage, and we have Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler on commentary as we have maybe the sixth play so far of the show of the DX theme, which, by the way, is a fucking banger, so I'm happy to listen to it that many times on a show. But yeah, the DX stage is definitely looking good at this point.
You got to, you got to try and accept that music in its context, haven't you? It's like the NWO one. It's fun. I get bored more of the DX theme than I do the NWO one, but not by much. They're both like so replayable, aren't they? It is mad. Yeah. It is absolutely mad that the Steve Austin NWO and DX themes were all within like a sort of 12 to 18 month period, and they would endure in such a way, like because they're all timers, aren't they? All three of them.
Massively. I'll give a shout out for the Kings of Rock Run DMC version of the DX theme as well. But the old school one is a banger, as is the hooky version that I will have used to introduce this podcast. We don't want to get pulled down from Spotify again, folks. But it's a classic theme. So yeah, that kicks us off. Like I say, we have Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler in the booth introducing us right away, starting hot with our opening contest in the WWF Light Heavyweight Championship Tournament Final. We are there, Michael. We got a little bracket showing on the screen, showing such stars as Mr. Aguilar. Don't know if anybody else says that out for you in this tournament, but I think it was undeniable which direction this was going to go, and obviously we're going to get into it now, which two men were going to make it there as well. But they had to at least make it look like they were making an effort, mate, after some of those stall starts that we saw on previous pay-per-views.
Yeah, it's a funny little tournament, this one. It didn't feel like something that we needed particularly to recap in housekeeping, and I knew the bracket was going to get flashed up just for us to, because Scott Taylor, who, would obviously go on to be Scott T. Hottie, he was like decked by Kane so that Brian Christopher got an easy route through. Flash Flanagan wasn't really a guy. But yeah, you mentioned Aguilar. We'll be coming back to him soon enough. Aguilar beat Super Loco, who, of course, was super crazy. And Taka Michinoku defeated Dangerous Devon Storm. So he was going to go and eventually find his crowbar run a little bit after that. So it's funny how like they're sort of like the makings of stuff. It reminds me actually of when we would see New Generation guys who wouldn't really click. Until, there's a lot of real Double J Jesse Jameses in this tournament, isn't there? That are still waiting for that moment where they break through big. It's just not quite yet.
Yeah, and it's like, he's always been here. I was watching him in 1996. He's got a new name now, so he's cool. Yeah, there's a few of them, isn't there? Like, there's a couple of weird ones in there, though, as well. It's like, who on earth is Eric Shelley? Like, I ended up looking him up on Cage Match. I was like, I've never heard that name before in my life. Like, distant cousin of Alex Shelley or something like that. A Canadian who worked about 12 matches and then never came back again. So, at least he got his start here in this lightweight tournament. But, yeah, hardly the WCW Cruiserweight division, but it's what they're attempting to do here, like I say, with the two most over people here by a clear margin. Obviously, Brian Christopher still dining out over the Jerry's Kid type stuff, and pretty much that's how the match pretty much takes place. It's him slowing the pace quite early on. You get a bit of a Taka Michinoku movement and speed to kind of make things a bit interesting. In the early stages, you get Brian Christopher hitting a German suplex. You have Taka countering that with a few flips and fancy counters of himself. You get Taka clothesline and Christopher over the top rope and doing his little springboard dive there. All amongst it, you got Brian Christopher dealing with, like I say, the Jerry's Kid chances that are raining down. Jerry Lawler, by the way, absolutely loving this on commentary, and just completely bipartisan towards his little boy Brian Christopher. But yeah, it doesn't really get going, this one, as far as like a kind of early sequence goes. Again, I think the big difference between the Cruiserweight division in WCW and the Lightweight division here is like it's not quite at that level yet here, but they're very much, at least in these early stages, working very much a WWF more heavyweight style, but just doing it as smaller guys. And I think, WCW went there very much the opposite way with this stuff. Yeah,
it's like, I think because it's the WWF and it comes with all of this, like there's so much baggage when it comes to promoting small wrestlers, especially at this sort of time. I understand that mindset of like, right, they just simply couldn't book cruiserweights the way that WCW could. I'm not sure I agree with that. However, I think what was clear to me here was the WCW Cruiserweight division is sort of self-agented and self-produced. The luchadors are allowed to just crack on being luchadors. The Japanese imports are allowed to just crack on being Japanese imports. The North American and Canadian wrestlers that slot in to that cruiserweight division understand how to work with them because they've done that long before they've gotten to WCW. This feels like even if Brian Christopher does Memphis style stuff, to be fair, but like even when Taka Michinoku like all tiptoes towards making this like an exhilarating spot fest, the kinds of which you'd see on Nitro all the time, it's very clearly been produced by people in the back as much as it has the wrestlers. Do you know what I mean? Like you can feel the hand of the author, whoever that would have been. I don't know. Let's say, for example, Tony Gurria. Like Tony Gurria is going to book and produce a very different light heavyweight match to Rey Mysterio Jr. and Super Callow working together. They're just. Bischoff is not going to care. He's like, I know what my audience wants out of this, but it's your job to actually do it. So go and do that match you do and delight my audience, and I'll leave you to it. Whereas this, they've almost certainly been given instructions and notes, and Taka Michinoku's high spots are fantastic, but he's obviously been told where he should place them and how they're supposed to be heat and shine and come back. And that's how you're a babyface around here, pal. You can like feel it coming through the match, even when it is, as you say, there's not really like Christopher busts his face open, so he's drooling blood for a lot of it. But other than that, there's not like a discernible body part work, is there? It's just like do some spots, calm them down, do some more big spots. It's still a spot fest, definitionally. It's just produced and agented and paced very differently to a WCW spot fest.
Definitely. And like I say, in those early stages, it's Christopher who pretty much takes over. You get some little comebacks from Taka with the Tornado DDT and the moonsault from the apron in there as well. It's Lawler coming off commentary. That's pretty much the kickoff to the heat segment of the middle portion of the match, which helps Christopher kind of recover. And then again, like I say, it is all very heavyweight stuff, isn't it? It's like he chokes him a bit, he power bombs him. To be fair, that's a little bit of a high spot you can throw in there. There's a couple in there. There's a missile drop kick in there as well, but mostly, it's very generic kind of heel stuff. You got Christopher blocking the German suplex from Taka as far as trying to mount a comeback, hits one of his own. You got Christopher hitting the top rope leg drop in there. He misses that, creates the opening for Taka Michinoku, counters, and it's kind of out of nowhere, isn't it, with the Michinoku driver and the big win, which, to be honest, I think I remembered Taka won this tournament, and I remembered he was the first lightweight champion, but to me, the structure of this match and the way they lay it out and the way the division is already trending, it feels like they've already lost interest in Taka Michinoku and Brian Christopher with the story and the character and the Lawler and the Jerry's kid of it all. Feels like more their focus than anything, but I know maybe it's a bit like, fast forward 25 years, like the WWE UK tournament. I was like, I guess we need the babyface to go over. Go on then, Tyler Bate, you're 12 years old, you'll do, we'll give it to you. Like Taka Michinoku very much feels like he's in this spot, whereas to me the match is kind of structured in a way that makes, I know he's working heel and he's gonna take control of the match, but if anything it makes Brian Christopher look good, and it's not a slip on a banana peel pin, but it's kind of like a against the run of play, I suppose you could say, for Taka at the end.
Yeah, it's they're not shy about putting over the Michinoku driver as a proper kill shot, are they? Like if Taka hits that, you are beaten, and that's kind of that's how he wins here, isn't it? As you say, they've done that thing where Christopher makes the mistake. It isn't that Taka made his comeback. Like Christopher just misses the Tennessee Jam, doesn't he, to set that Michinoku driver up?
I love that name, by the way, Tennessee Jam, brilliant.
Oh, it's great, yeah. Like I will say, and Patterson, Briscoe, the usual lot, they come out with
Tony Gurria himself.
Like, Tony Gurria, yeah. Let's say that let's just make it up that he was the agent of this match. They do the pictures, don't they? Taka's got. I really like the belt, by the way, like the red strap and the new gen side plates and all of that. Like it does look a little bit more like the type of belt that a wrestler would take, like on tour, as if they were going to let Taka go and do like title defenses elsewhere, even though that was very unfed for the time. I hate in wrestling. I like this match, but it's a proper like pet hate of mine, a pet peeve in wrestling when you're watching something that the promoter, and it doesn't just have to be WWE here, but when you're watching something, you already feel like the promoter has lost interest in it, and you just feel like, you're feeling a bit lied to, aren't you? It's just like I even remember watching this at the time. You're right, it was quite a vivid memory of I already think this is lost its luster, and I haven't even seen a guy hold the belt up yet. Normally they do a better job at faking it when they come up with their big new idea, and it's a bit like what here we are in 2026 with this really weird rollout of whatever the John Cena thing is going to be, like the half-baked sort of idea. If an industry like wrestling that is designed to basically lie to you and make the lie seem like the most exciting thing in the world. If they can't do that effectively, what chance does the wrestlers have?
Yeah. It's very much like Vince McMahon in every way, isn't it? It's like he's lost interest in the shiny new toy that is the tournament. Like he's already lost he's probably looked at Takumi Shinoku at that same conversation that he did with AJ Styles. You're small, you're a pit bull, therefore you should fight underneath. And guess what? You don't even get a comeback in the match. You just hit your finish and that's done. You know, like it's very clearly been thought out. Like that's the way I can market you. That's the way I can make you good. And it's like, no, the way I can make you good is to just let you go out there and be good and do the things that got him over in the original, Sasuke match. But it's already, if it feels too meddled with, while at the same time, as you say, also kind of hands off. And like I say, it is almost notable that it's the Stooges and Gurria that get sent out there as I guess nobody else could do it with all the storylines going on, but as like the faceless officials to present Taka with is kind of meaningless belt at this point. And the other thing about it as well, it's like when I saw it on the rundown for this show, it was like, oh, it took them this long to get here. It feels like, I know things move fast, don't they, in this version of the World Wrestling Federation. Doesn't feel like they struck while the iron was hot either.
No, you're right. Taka, fair play to Taka Michinoku. Like he definitely, obviously, he kind of gazumped Sasuke ultimately in getting the job in the first place, and then getting to the point where he's still considered credible enough by a lot of people that would presumably not be asked about booking him, like to get belted up and to be seen as like an actual baby face. And you can already tell the mistakes they're going to make with him. But I think it's pretty admirable, that a guy with his background and his size and his perceived obstacles could be like utilized in this way, and that this is the start for him. Still, there's more good stuff to come with Taka Michinoku, and I don't know, it's a pretty cool thing that for him. I'm not going to give too much credit to the company, but I'll give a lot of credit to him. I think he kind of, there's a version of Taka Michinoku's work. He kind of made himself a bit undeniable, didn't he? Yeah,
that's it. And you had to be, in this scenario, especially in this division, to get to that point as well. But yeah, nice little at least moment for him, despite the other issues as noted there. But yeah, that moves us on to the second match of the evening. And of course, as I say, the Fed gives and the Fed takes away in 1987. Gang Wars is continuing, mate, as we have Los Boricuas versus 3 of Disciples of Apocalypse. We'll get to that in a moment. But of course, because they are a Spanish street gang, they wrap their way to the ring to the Los Boricuas. Terribly, by the way. I'd completely erased this from my memory that was a thing. Barely any reaction for them. We get the DOA vroom vroom in their way out, which in fairness, I feel like the Undertaker learned this a couple of years later. A motorbike gets a pop, doesn't it? And another person later on the show is like, oh, there's a vehicle in an arena. Always going to kind of get people there. But as I say, there's only 3 of the DOA, mate, obviously at an important chapter of the story, which we kind of went across, didn't we, on the Housekeeping, which is Crush being written off TV by being taken out by Kane on his way down south. I think it's a couple of months later he appears in WCW, but unfortunately they weren't like, oh yeah, therefore then why bother doing the match? No, we're just going to do 3-on-3 instead, and that's what we get here.
It is mad that this is still like, you think, why are we doing this? How is this still happening? And then you remember that like it's still WWE adjusting to these events being 3 hours instead of 2. Like there would have been the problem is, Benno, me and you still would have watched it. It just would have been the dark match on the Coliseum video rather than something that was actually part of the
for the sickos.
Like these are our 1997 Undertaker Karma matches, aren't they? Like there is always DOAs and Boricuas to get to, and like the 3 of them coming out on the bike instead of the 4. This abysmal rap entrance where half the microphones don't work. They're not over. We have to watch. Oh God, we have to like watch this shit again. And like I put in my notes like how the mighty have fallen, but I think Savio was the only mighty one all along. It's like Savio was mighty and he's fallen, but the other 6 were never mighty at all with it. It's so bleak. Like to see them come out again and. Like, there's an element of this match, I think we'll probably agree on this, that I actually quite like and is pretty cute. But so there should be, because they've probably wrestled about 50 times on the house show by this point. If these blokes haven't at least come up with one structure that's interesting, like more on them.
Yeah, well, you get the opposite, unfortunately, of interesting in the early stages of it. They started fast with the chains making the big jump. You get a big boot on Miguel. You get a hip toss and a clothesline on the running in Boricuas at the time. You then get the bit that did almost send me to sleep as DOA control the early exchanges, 8-ball and skull rolling in, doing some of the world's dullest double teams you get here. Unfortunately, no H-bomb for the WCW 2001 fans out there, but yeah, some some other less interesting stuff. And again, you can tell they're onto a loser because you got Chains doing like the old Brit Res thing, stamping his foot and trying to get DOA chants going because everybody's falling asleep. It gets a little bit going, obviously, with a bit of a momentum sheet when you get the Briquas getting on top with the Miguel cheap shot in there, the isolate 8-ball, which of course the commentary make the joke of, is that, or is it Skull? Because that is pretty much what we do with these two lads in there. And there's just a weird spot in the middle. I don't know if this is what, obviously the story, obviously they go for here, but like you get Miguel getting the shave your back chance from the crowd. He hits like a couple of like mostly like decent looking moves. He's quite light on his feet as old Miguel, and then he jumps off the top, lands on his knee, and then rolls out and sells it. And I will give him credit. I bought it in the moment. I'd forgotten what the story of the match was. But when he rolls out, I was like, oh, hang on. Like, what's happened here? Has something gone wrong? Has this got even worse? Now we've gone from 3-on-3 to 3-on-2. But obviously it's a mechanic to get Savio involved. But I don't know if that's what you were alluding to before.
Yeah. I thought this element of it, I appreciated because I remembered the little plotting and the finish and the like. But I think I've forgotten how effective it was pulled off. Like how effectively it was pulled off. They do. You get the injury and it's he rolls out to the floor. He doesn't attempt to like get another move in, does he? And the wrestlers kind of leave him alone. But it's Savio's acting. So Savio's been sent to the back to make it a fair 3-on-3. But when he comes out and he wants to get involved, him and the referee do quite a good job of making it seem like they don't know what's going on. You know, they're kind of like, well, what's happening here? Why am I allowed in or not? What are we doing? And I just think that was the bit of it I liked, was that like Savio and the ref like made it look as if there wasn't any kind of fix in, so that when Miguel reveals that it's a ruse, it's sort of it's pretty funny, and it's quite charming that they're like they've pulled like the wool over everybody's eyes. Like they actually look like smart heels rather than just like idiot losers, which is what the rest of this gang warfare thing looks like in totality now.
Yeah, and to defend myself, you can kind of picture it too, can't you? Like a real injury happens and a referee's like, "Fuck, just get one of the other, get the other one out here. That'll do." He can interchangeably get involved, and obviously, like you say, they use that. They don't allow him to actually get in the match, which leaves. I mean, even at the 3-on-2 advantage, like Jose and Jesus still do a pretty good job of working over old 8-ball. I'm sure he wasn't happy about that, having to sell for the two of them. But it does really slow the match down. Obviously, you get, say, Savio trying to replace Miguel in there, and then amongst the distraction of all of that, you get Chains getting the big hot tag. He's the one who gets to show off a little bit. He gets his brief little big shine with the big comeback with the DVD, which he does hit nicely. Saw him do that with Tommy Dreamer a few times in old ECW. And then the Roos, as you mentioned, is in as Miguel suddenly dives back into the ring, hits a quite nifty looking like flip leg drop. Wouldn't quite call it a finish though, and I kind of assumed there was something else coming, and it's we're just gonna, what's the point in doing anything else? It's only the fucking boring DOA lad. So rolls him up 1, 2, 3, and it's over. And I suppose my question to you, Michael, is like, I think they told like a good agented like story, like you say, if they've done this match 40 times on a house show, it kind of makes sense. It's like a little like wrinkle to it and a little thing to shock the live crowd. I think at the end of it though, I was still sat there like, what's the point in those last 50? Is that given like Los Boricuas? Have they got more heat now? Does anyone care anymore now? It's just an uphill battle, isn't it? Like you can come up with some creative like that, but you just watch it going, I probably should have done that with New Age Outlaws or something like that, or with an act that had upside, instead of wasting another 15 minutes of our time.
It's just not a story, is it? It's not in any way. It's not like anybody's keeping. Like have you ever had like a housemate or a friend that you played FIFA with or Pro Evo with so often that you kept score, and it would be sort of like 128 plays 126 because you were mostly inseparable. Like that's the DOA Boricuas storyline, isn't it? Is they just wrestle each other. Like at this point, it's not even a gang war because they've both kind of accepted that they can share the turf. Like it's not like somebody that we're gonna have to rid.
They'll split it.
Yeah, so we'll split it, and like one of us will have bragging rights this week. It's like
it's hardly GTA San Andreas, is it?
It's like it's a worse version of the Invasion storyline, because like by then at least there was like different wrestlers in a WCW shirt or a WWF shirt. There's just two stables, and it's the Boricuas and the DOA, and none of them are over anymore. Like They continue to have tag matches after this. The cheeky bastards, like in the build up to this match, they run a video package where it's like, look at the DOA and the Bariquas getting in a brawl on Raw. And it was like, don't patronize me with that. Like, don't pretend that you've had to run this back on a pay-per-view because of all they do is brawl on Raw. Like, you can't just... piss take, really. And as well, DOA, I think, they've gone into my honky tonk man category as just like worst wrestlers I dread. Like, I can't get a single discernible quality out of them. I like to find something I can appreciate about it. Like, what? They could have worn white denim or something to give me something to look at. Like, their outfits are boring. They're not as good like motorbike guys as the Undertaker. None of them can wrestle an interesting match to save their life. The Harris twins are awful blokes. Like, there is nothing about the DOA that I get from them.
I half enjoyed Brian Lee at ECW. That's pretty much it. That's like the nicest thing I can say about them. And even he betrayed old Mark, didn't he? So there you go. It does feel like that as a whole. You say it's Undertaker's like gimmick, but like very clearly he was like, well, I've got to do this fucking dead thing for the rest of my life. So like he's like fancy booked. Well, we're gonna get 3 of my mates from dodgy gangs or like other reasons I possibly know them, and we'll get them to literally live out my dreams. And they come out on a vroom vroom motorbike and they dress in leather. Like, that's pretty much what this gimmick is. Unfortunately, it's 4 of the biggest losers ever who are trying to pull it off. And you're right, like that sums up really. It is the 1997 equivalent of red and blue shirt Raw versus SmackDown brawling, and it's just like they're wearing different. Am I supporting the clothes here? What am I doing? Like, what am I supposed to be into here? What am I supposed to invest in? There's nothing to it, but yeah, it rumbles on. But speaking of nothing to it, that takes us to our next segment. Before the next match, we have, as we did mention, we were going to recap on him a little bit. We have our first appearance, at least in Benno and Hamflett canon, of Butterbean, as before his match here with Marvelous Mark Mero, who also gets a bit of mic time. He's backstage here with Doc, and I've written down here Art Door. I've just put question mark next to it because I'm not a boxing guy. I don't know if that's his name. And Murray Sutherland. I don't know. Apparently they're boxing people who were with him. Yeah, he also had a fight apparently the night before as well. So obviously the conversation is whether he's 100% here. He's mad at Mark Mero because the way that he treats Sable. I'm stumbling over my words as much as he does here because he just gets to the point where he goes, I don't even want to talk about it, and just turns away from the camera. And it's like, oh, I guess we're done here, Butterbean. You get obviously Cole with if he gets the good job, he's in the other locker room with Sable, where she's talking about her heart being in the right place with Mark, which I feel like is an inside shoot. Sorry, she means Marvelous Mark, as she corrects herself here. And then we get Mark Mero coming in with his whole, you don't have permission to talk, accuses her of stealing his spotlight, and he's about to, and he's not the only one who uses this line through the night, about to take out that fat tub of crap in Butterbean, mate. But like I say, we haven't had a chance on a housekeeping to talk fully about old Butterbean, and good lord, this is a very different Mark Mero from the last time we talked to him on In Your House.
Christ, where to start here? It was funny watching old Butter hang Doc out to dry, wasn't it? Like, there's obviously a guy with a cameraman, like, that's saying, like, there's done the, what is it for, like, I'm thinking my Louis Theroux Pez Watley thing where it's like 30 seconds left where the fist goes up, like the fist has gone up to 30 seconds, and then Butterbean goes, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Over to you, Michael. Mark Mero, a favourite of ours and a favourite of people our age in 1996. Steve Austin coming up on the inside, but Mark Mero very much the showy, flashy, potential Bret Hart replacement if he was never going to return in 1996 while Shawn was on top, and this was a new kind of WWF, and all of the silliness of the Johnny B. Bad character was gone, simply replaced by, well, a pretty silly wild man. But nonetheless, like, I think he might be the best example on this specific show of how there was definitely that mindset in 1997 that no matter how, like, if it was, I'll use Papa Shango as the example, they were going to bring back Karma as Papa Shango, and we've all seen those images of like the kind of 1997 version of the gimmick. It wasn't just going to be the 1992 one. They tweaked the visuals somewhat, it was this idea of like, right, that was from 1992. That was 5 years ago. That might as well have been the cave people time. So we can't bring you back looking like Papa Shango. Mark Mero was like on a Fed pay-per-view in 1997 as the Wild Man. But because he dared to be off injured for like 6 months, they thought that about that. Like, it all had to go, didn't it? 1996, everything must go. Nothing can be what the Fed was. So you like the Marvelous gimmick and this idea that he's like an arsehole now, and like the swapping the long hair and the tash for the shaved hair and the goatee. WWF loved the shock of, well, he looks different. And again, I think it's borrowed from the NWO, because as somebody that like wasn't necessarily able to for a while, like see Nitro every week. I think I've used the example before of like the issue of Power Slam where they got that. It's not even a good picture, but it's enough. It's that picture of Hogan in the black spandex with the beard coming out on that Disney Nitro taping. So it's before they've even got the NWO branding. But you look at that magazine cover and it is just like, what the fuck is going on down in WCW? Like, it is intoxicating, and then all of a sudden Liz is there in a black NWO dress and Sting is the Crow, and like they couldn't try and visually distance themselves more for trying, and that permeates through the WWF roster. There was nothing wrong with the Wild Man, Mark Mero. There was road to travel with the Wild Man, but in their mind it was like, well, he's been gone now. He's dead. Everything's dead. 1996 is dead. Like, he's got to be nastier. Like, the training montages, he comes back as a boxer, but already he's doing the Andrew Galotta bit with the low blow on everybody. Like, they do this one week where, like, Sable comes out with glasses on, and Jim Ross mentions that, like, a horse has kicked her, and it feels like the implication is Mark's knocking her about, and then that gets dropped. But they still do the segment where she's holding the gloves, the sort of punching gloves, and he's smashing them as hard as he can, and he's like hurting her hands, and he's a dickhead to her. Like, they skirt the line of making him like abusive. I mean, he's verbally horrible to her, but they skirt the line of him being physically abusive, and then decide to pull that one back. But in every respect, it's like, you cannot be in the WWF unless you are like a nastier version of yourself. Like, you know, or a weirder version of yourself, Goldust, or like a sort of a completely spiraling version of yourself, Shawn Michaels, and on and on and on it goes. You know, like even Ken Shamrock, he didn't really get over until he went mental and started suplexing officials. You know, like
it's like we're going to like a reality version of you, and some get like the fortune of it, and some don't. Like, I feel like Marvelous Mero is like kind of roads very similar to Flash Funk, isn't it? Where like the full Flash Funk get up coming out on 1997 Raws is a bit like, come on, lads, 1996 was surely 3 decades ago. Why is he still doing this? Like, Mark Mero feels like he's in that same place where, like, for me, like if he was coming out in 1998, you know, with the hair and stuff like that, it's like, the shooting star press would be good, but like he would feel like very retro, and I think like it's an attempt to make it a more adult gimmick, but it hasn't aged well at all. Like, it's one that, like, to be honest, when I was a kid, I there were parts of this character I enjoyed. I think like Mark Mero getting to play the dickhead, there were little funny things like twist that he put on it, and like the paranoid husband, Randy Savage-esque part of it is probably the darker part of it. But you know, we're gonna get to it when we get down the road. You know, the one where he rolls up Sable and all of that stuff, and when he's trying to take like, you know, all of the glory, even though it's Sable, it's out there. There's like clearly a nugget of something in there, and there's like a charisma that I feel like almost that's coming out of Mark Mero with, like, say, the new look and all of that stuff. Like, I think parts of it are working for him, and then there's parts of it where clearly Vince Russo's in the room and he's like, all right, allude to this, or, you know, we just have to take stuff, to your point, to that optimum Uber level. We have to take it to that next level, and just can't help ourselves because it's 1997, bro, and it's about to hit 1998, bro, and we've got to push the envelope in all regards.
Well, I mean, by the way, speaking of 1997 and 1998 and 1996, can we have a minute on 1995? Because did you clock Butterbean's music?
Oh, what? Like, I was literally listening to it going, does he use this in his boxing fights or not? Like, I know, what was it? What was the song?
It was LT's / Bam Bam Bigelow's Babyface music.
Oh, that's what it is.
Hearing that on a really grotty and grisly 97 Fed paper. You're like, oh, get it.
That's what I've got written down. I literally wrote down, is this Vader song with a sexy saxophone over it? Like, is this Butterbean's fight music? That's where I know it from. There you go. Brilliant. But yeah, we will ask the question, is Butterbean okay, as we go through, because Butterbean is being brought in. Because again, it's 1997 and we've got to try things, and like, it's not apparently obvious to us which of those things are going to work and not. So we're going to do tough man contests, obviously, would turn into the Brawl for All concept. We're going to use boxing gloves, and we're going to have boxing style rounds, and what we get here is a 4-round fight with the lads. Obviously, Sable comes out with Mero as he's got his little Sable Who sign, and you got Butterbean coming out to a sexy saxophone with his boys there as well. But Yeah, how do we break this down? Like, it really does. Like I say, the gangs, like, it seems obvious that this is going to, like, any time, and it happened to WCW, to be fair, around this time too, any time a wrestling company is like, you know what we need to do? We need to make things boring, like boxing, and we need to do rounds. It's immediately going to kill the crowd. I'll say, for its positive, at least there's only 4 rounds here, and they try to tell us a bit of a story with the match. Obviously, in the first round, you've got Mero kind of avoiding, engaging with Butterbean at all, and kind of trying to use the ropes for protection, which leads to Butterbean punching him, which I'm pretty sure is illegal in any boxing rules that I know of. But again, it's more stalling and not much else. The between the rounds is arguably more important and more interesting than the matches, as you get obviously Mero cheap shot on Butterbean between the first and second round, using the wrist tape, trying to choke him and all of that stuff, just attacking him outside of what the rules probably should be. Then you got Mero taking advantage of the knee, again, stalling tactics until Butterbean bumps him out. And then the third round's pretty much a Butterbean round as he starts fighting back, lands a lot of punches on Mero, who goes down as the round ends. He gets doused by water by his corner, which again, I'm not sure is a thing you're allowed to do in boxing. That kind of brings him back to life, only for Butterbean to knock him down in the 4th round again. Mero low blows him for the DQ, uses a stool, and then Butterbean knocks him out, and that's your finish on Disqualification X. Yes, that is, of course, the order of the day here, but I don't know what were they going for here. We just said all that about the Mero character, and they're trying to get it over, but it's also like, we got to protect this Butterbean guy. I guess they're trying to have the cake and eat it too, and trying to present it in something that formulates a wrestling match as well. But yeah, you could tell the crowd was not here for this stuff.
We don't lie on this podcast, do we, Benno?
Usually.
I like this. And I went into this knowing every bit of it. I've seen this show enough times. My memory of it is good. And I knew the order of things for the most part. And I wonder if in the last time I've rewatched this, knowing what I used to think of it, I've just skipped it, and it's benefited from going a long time since I've seen it and getting caught out by a couple of little spots by it, or what. I'm not doing this to land on a hot or a weird take. I'm sure people have already long made up their minds and judged me for my terrible taste or whatever you think. I had such a good time with this, and it's right. I've got it in my notes, right? It's a bit boring, but it's so much more entertaining, or it was on this last watch, so much more entertaining to me than just about every other boxing wrestling match I could summon in my mind, that I used the low bar for these sort of things, and I allowed it to step over it. I thought Mark Mero was so funny in this. He is. You made a point there that I think is spot on with him. He very clearly knows what could work about this character. He can see a higher ceiling for it, and he doesn't want to be an abusive guy on Monday Night Raw, but he can see he can definitely see that there's a sort of a grain of potential to being this arsehole boxer figure. And I think he gets to play in the sandbox in this match. You get if you use Piper and T as a reasonable for because Piper's playing the heel and Mr. T is supposedly the proper boxer, even though he's obviously not. He's not on Butterbean's level at all. T's blowing gas for the first 10 seconds. Butterbean is conditioned. He's obviously up for this. Mero, by the way, I think holds his wind really well in this, for what it's worth. You can tell he's changed his cardio to boxer cardio because he doesn't look. When you see the wrestlers in these boxing things, they look knackered, and it's obviously a different. I'm not criticizing the wrestlers' athleticism. I'm just saying, if different cardio, different needs, and all that. Mero looks in good nick for the duration of this, but the first cheap shot with it results in a pull apart between the two. The crowd are really bored. So I'm not saying that this is a good piece. I'm saying I enjoy this. The crowd are really bored by this. These never work. These never go down well with the live audiences that have come to see wrestling. I've said it a million times to mates when people ask me, "Oh, you watch wrestling? Do you like boxing?" To me, that is saying, "Oh, you like football? Do you enjoy cricket?" Because they're both played on grass. They are played on the same surface. Nothing else about it is similar. There is a ring and ropes. That are the only thing that make boxing and wrestling the same to me. I've never I know it might sound odd. I've just never seen the comparison. So Mero, like turning this into a wrestling match that I can enjoy instead of a boxing one that I wouldn't, is what I got out of this. When he starts round 2, you think, right, a heel is going to cheat to get the early advantage. A running knee is so audacious when he's got like boxing gloves on, like, and he's hitting this knee at Butterbean's a big guy, and he has to sell a 6'2" fella running at him and putting a work knee into his back. And there's something funny about that. And like the tape around the gloves, like the cheating is quite, I don't know, there's like an inventiveness to it, and there's like a glint in Mero's eye in the way that I think.
Do you think he's
like,
thought this entire life when he's been in boxing matches, like, oh, if this was a rest, I could do this, I could do that. Yeah. Like, he's probably had these ideas his entire life, maybe.
I think he's maximizing this. Like, he hits him with like a drop kick, and he gets to like Butterbean's neck. Like, Mero's still Mero. Like, this is a guy. True. He puts those shorts on, and like the shorts have this weird effect to make you forget that he's the wild man. In 98, he'd start using like Marvelocity, wouldn't he? He'd be bringing the stuff back. So you forget that he's this athlete dressed as a boxer. The knockout bump he takes, like it's 6 seconds before the end of the 3rd round. So you know he's finished. He can't get his guard up anymore. And Butterbean just like, and it's a really impressive work punch, if it's even worked, because he leathers him. And Mero just takes this really fun bump and like the bucket of water to wake him back up just so he can go in the final round. Like the idea that Mero, like you're on that like one punch energy bar thing in a video game, and when Mero's coming out, he's got nothing left for this 4th round, and bang, straight away Butterbean just guns him. So like Mero has no choice but to do the Gallotta again. I just think, I don't know, the WCW wooden stool where it doesn't break first time, and he's got to hit him a couple of times to get there.
He doesn't seem to like that Butterbean at all.
Nah. And then just as if to sort of, after he's done all this pantomiming on purpose, you get one last accidental bit of clowning by Mero. Because of all the water on the ring, did you see him fall off the apron when he's leaving the ring? Like, he proper sells that when he slips over. He's like, oh, I'm fine, because his head's all over the shop. He's seeing Tweety Birds. He's like, the whole ring's a mess now. Mero proper like worked me into enjoying this.
I think that is what I like about Mero in general, is like, you know, he can play this Randy Savage-esque kind of like, you know, sinister, you know, bad partner, if we want to put it in the most PG terms, kind of character. But like, you know, in real, from every interview you've seen him do with CNN, you know, from the steroid scandal to everywhere, he's just, I believe he's just a really nice guy. He's just quite a soft-spoken guy, doesn't care about being a tough guy at all, like doesn't care how the locker room like sees him. To me, he doesn't come across as that type of guy. So he's clearly got to play a character here. And I think where the real Mark Mero comes out, it's in those little moments of humor, isn't it? It's where it's that little bit lighter amongst kind of the cockiness. Like, that's the element. Like, me and Matty often bond over like the character into 1998. Like, there's parts of it that kind of work, and parts of it that don't get taken advantage enough in 1998. Like, I could do without all the boxing stuff. Like, but it's almost like a needed, like say, it's a refresh, isn't it? Like you said, it's 1997 into 1998, bro. Like, we've got to go real life. In real life, you're a boxer. Therefore, you're a boxer now. You're not pretending to be from the jungle anymore. But it does the positive of it. It gives him a platform, at least, to like, you know, use those skills that he's got that you wouldn't have seen when he's bland babyface wild man, as much as you know, Kid Me and you would have loved him in 1996.
He I can't remember who it was against. He worked a boxing match on the WCW pay-per-view as Johnny B. Bad as a babyface, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah,
it might have been his DDP. I can't remember. But like again, as a babyface that was skilled, and they were able to mention how Johnny B. Bad's got like a Golden Gloves history and all that. As a baby, that's a harder shift, isn't it? Because you've basically got to just be a fair boxer. You've got to just try and like have this boxing match. Whereas here, he's like, well, I will box, but if I can do absolutely anything to win another way, I'm going to do that instead. And like Butterbean is the guy trying to be like, hang on, what have I come to this dog and pony show for? I'm a boxer here. What am I doing? You know, like I don't know. It's like, it's funny because this should have been the template to tell them that the Brawl for All was a bad idea. It's mad that the Brawl, and we'll get to it down the line. It's mad that the Brawl for All happened when every other example ever told you it was a bad idea.
Like, that's the biggest thing that stood out for me. It was like, again, memory's a funny thing, isn't it? Like, I knew they had this match at some point, but I just assumed it was after that. Because, like, what they've done here is establish that it's all a work and then try to have the shoot tournaments afterwards. It's just like, I mean, maybe that's another reason why it doesn't work as well. But, yeah. I mean, to be fair, though, I mean, I don't think, did you know Butterbean was in it in 97 to 98? Like, it established me to him. Like, I'm sat front row at those Raws with, I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm just trying to enjoy Raw. Like, me and like Tom from school would just piss ourselves laughing at his little that squeaky voice coming out of such a big man. To us, he was just funny. We didn't realize there was he was something at least of a name in the US, like even to pretty much, obviously he was on, was it Janelle last year or the year before? Like he's, still a name of value, obviously. Jackass movie as well being a big part of his cultural significance.
Yeah, he got in. I was reading a little bit. I don't know, like there's probably more informed Butterbean data out there, but just like the Cliff Notes is like he was when that Tough Man thing was taken off. He was just like his mate said, "You're dead hard. Give it a go." Like there really wasn't like part of the charm was that he was like the normal just guy done good. Was part of that was legitimate, that was organic, and that body was obviously reflective of that, and his whole look was reflective of that. It's just funny, like wrestling. You'll probably relate to this. I know I'm worse than you for it, but I imagine there's others that are listening to this. When wrestling just consumes you in the way that it does us, our sort of corner of the fan base, it's funny. I'm reminded of that, like when Vince McMahon's doing a press conference for the XFL. And the real media, he's in front of them, and he never copes well in front of actual shoot media. And they're pinning him piss easy. They're throwing him softballs, and he's still dropping them. And it's like, like Vince, you're going to run a football league. What? Like, who's your favorite players? And he goes like, Ernie Ladd and Wahoo McDaniel. Like that'd be me like chin stroking if somebody had like cornered me at this sort of time in my life and being like, "Oh, yeah, boxing, yeah, you're into boxing, yeah. I love Mike Tyson, I love Butterbean, like all the boxers, like basically anyone that comes into the. What about American football, Hamflett? Yeah, big LT guy, Walter Payton." Big into NFL, yeah. Like Butterbean became like a frame of reference, and he was basically a stunt guy from a Tough Man show. Like, seen your Butterbean fights recently? Good boxing. Yeah.
I think you could fool someone knows boxing, like, I know Butterbean, I know lots of stuff. It's a bit like UFC in it. Like I listen to enough Observer Radio. If anyone wants to talk to me about UFC, I've got enough I can bluff it with. I can talk like the Conor McGregor period with the best of them, despite not not being as big a fan as some others.
I mean, I think I went years being able to say GSP as long as you didn't ask me what the letter stood for.
It's a skill. It definitely is. But yeah, I was just looking it up, obviously, and it was, we don't need the corrections. It was, how did I forget? WrestleCon last year, wasn't it? When Butterbean had the Minoru Suzuki match. I was thinking it was on the Janela show. Fuck me. So still 2025, still going. Yeah. And also, while I'm in the mood for corrections, it hit my head before. It was Terry Taylor's rope that everybody was wearing into. So there you go. That was it. I think that's still going. Maybe that'll make its way through NXT as well. But there you go. Butterbean and McNamara along. Not a great show, this, folks. You might be able to tell. But moving on from there, speaking of not a great show, we have the artist formerly known as Goldust and Luna coming out. We have Goldust and Luna in full pink costume here. We have old Goldie reading from Green Eggs and Ham, very American references. Sam I Am. Luna slaps him and dog walks into the back. Lots of shut the hell up from the two of them to try and promote a reaction. Did they miss anything, Michael? Like, what was this?
They get one at one point. You can actually hear kids chanting slurs at him from the crowd. It was a very different time. Children. They're stopping the way through. Luna, Dustin takes a hell of a bump off the shove. And she says, her exact words, I wrote them down because we're completists on this podcast. "Come on, you scum suck." And then drives into the back to do God knows what. I'm trying to analyze, it's a bit like Montreal in some respects. It's like, how can you analyze the artist formerly known as Goldust in a way that everybody already kind of hasn't taken a punt at, I think to blow it off, it's just to sort of, I think it doesn't do it a service. Like, what are the, you really got to get under the hood. What are they trying to do? What's Dustin trying to do with this performance? What are the WWF trying to do with any of this other than shock and just get, headlines isn't even the word. The real news doesn't care about the Fed. Just get something, provoke. What's the game here? And I think the only real sort of thing I can take from it is the same thing I took from it back then. I wouldn't. It's wrestling's weird. It's like nothing else. I wouldn't want somebody to catch me watching this. Right now, that might sound like the biggest. I sound like sort of like somebody not wanting to be walked in on watching porn or something like that. This is like slam the laptop lid down if somebody catches you watching the artist formerly known as Goldust. Not necessarily because of one specific thing about the character. It's just so weird that anybody that has a preconceived notion of you liking stupid shit wrestling will have their notions doubled by the sight of this, you know? But like, is that the point? Are they simply just saying, do anything, right? And it's so illicit and it's so weird that it could only be here. It could only be the WWF. We are going to do anything. And this itself might not work. And this isn't going to be the thing that gets dust into the top of the card, any of that shite. But it is so intrinsically of the time, of the attitude of try anything, try everything. Is it like are they trying to like basically explain the broader philosophy of WWE creative? This character might not work, but if you were prepared to go to this distance, it's almost like, sorry, I'm waffling. It's a bit like the same company that can knock out something as weird and as out of nowhere as this is the same company that can out of nowhere create the New Age Outlaws, and that can work. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the same creative engine, and I'm not saying that you've got to try, you've got to try. I'm not defending this particularly, but I am in a way, because everybody's going 10 out of 10 for effort here. And that's like Dustin included, Luna included, like the commentators don't know what to make of it, but I think that's a good thing. Not everything has to be for the 40-year-old men doing this podcast today or the 40-odd-year-old men at the desk in 1997. Some stuff's got to be for people that you never know. There's going to be an artist formerly known as Goldust, super fan out there that this character spoke to. Do you know, like it's... Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably not explaining myself well there, but I can't just hate this completely out of hand. I just don't want to put it over too much either.
Yeah, and I get why you've kind of got like that. It's that difficult, like, which side we'll fall on, because like there's something to there. Again, we're throwing shit at the wall and we're trying to do stuff. But I think like, and this was probably true like the original Goldust character, except I think it was pulled off a lot better. I think it's just a lot of like, because this isn't like a genuine LGBT person who's like leaning into drag culture or leaning into whatever culture like we're trying to lean into here, weird sex culture or whatever.
It's like late night is high art, isn't it? It's like sort of high concept art, like Middle America judges that go to like the Museum of Modern Art and think, well, that doesn't make sense to me. That's not the Mona Lisa. They're poking fun at that, aren't they? Like
exactly. And I think like the Dustin within this doesn't understand that culture and doesn't understand what he's trying to like make light of, and he doesn't. That's why they pull in like just all of these like random bits, and it's like, I'll wear that, I'll do this. She can slap me around, she can walk me around in a dog league. It's just shit. It's just like he doesn't really get what the shit is or why he's doing it. And I'm sure 28-year-old Dustin Rhodes at this point in his life doesn't really know what's going on either. I think that's part of like the problem here as well. But I think it's maybe the bad side of just throwing stuff for a wall and seeing what will come of it, because it literally is only that, and I'm not sure there's any substance underneath it is the problem.
No, that's a good take. It's like that. Yeah, there's no substance. I think you probably hit upon something there. I guess I'm trying to say I think somewhere there is value, but I think you're right. There is no substance, and both those things can be true.
Yeah,
it's like
I think
I just feel like over the years I've seen a million, and this is not me like dragging Wrestle Crap or Botchamania or whoever, Brian and Vinny, but like most looks at this will just simply say shite, weird, didn't make sense, rubbish, bin, and that'll be it. And you kind of want to try and find something, don't you? You want to dig a little bit and be like, what's occurring here, and like Vince Russo, he of New York, and he probably of a good understanding for him of like subcultures and things like that, and being given a bit more rope, and like
what has he seen on Successor or like one of those American like shows? Like what has he seen and gone, all right, we're gonna try and do that, like we're gonna try and do that, like what are they trying to do and failing is a better conversation, isn't it? Like definitely.
That's it. Yeah. So and this categorically fails, but like but I find it interesting to look at. I do.
Yeah. Well, we go from there, from less interesting to look at. We have the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, backstage here, as they call the Road Dogg and Billy the sissies and punks. Hawk calls them Mr. Dog and Mr. Ass, which isn't a great joke when they've just made it about themselves. But anywho, you go off, Hawk. He compares the New Age Outlaws to a stubborn bugger, like it's 1987 here, Michael, and not 10 years down the line here in 1987. And even ends the promo with his usual catchphrase that ends in "What a bugger." Again, what year do you think you're living in, Earhawk? But yeah, promise to dispose of the New Age Outlaws, and sets up the match, mate. But again, like, these lads, not long for this world, at least in this incarnation.
No, we touched upon this on Housekeeping. Without Hawk and Animal realising it, the Outlaws kind of committed a murder on the Legion of Doom, and what you're watching is the reanimated corpses, aren't you? Animal's little line, like the LOD is so insecure, man. Animal's line, "You may have took our belts, but we got our spikes back." And you're just like, grow up, mate. Well, you got your spikes back. Well done. Like, your spikes. You're in your 40s, for fuck's sake. You got your spikes back. Right. Like, it's just out of the way, mate. We're done.
Got no idea.
Cool business.
Yeah. Like, and the way they put this match together as well, it's like, what we're going to do, lads? We're going to show we're really scared, obviously, we'll just keep running away. But I think it just makes them look clever rather than idiots. But I think it works in both ways. But speaking of which, like I say, the match has Road Dogg come out, do us, obviously, we're full. Oh, you didn't know. We have the music as well, as we ended Housekeeping with, obviously calls LOD dinosaurs, goes on about not feeding the dinosaurs. To be fair, not even as good as Hawk's material, but at least he's trying. They try and delay the match by running away. Obviously, they run to the backstage area. They come back. They try and run away again. The officials eventually, fresh off giving Taka Michinoku for his fresh new belt, force them to compete. LOD again, you can feel like the Jedi mind tricks here jumped in the aisle, and it's like, yeah, we'll batter you. Yeah, that sounds good as a match. Let's do that. You get Animal dominating Road Dogg, and that Hawk hits a big drop kick. Obviously, Road Dogg tries a few punches in there. Again, it's the Road Warriors. Doesn't work. Gets neck breakered and clotheslined on the outside. The turning point in the match in the middle, where we get to the heat segment, it kind of comes with LOD kind of dominating in and outside of the ring, all the power bombs, all the gorilla presses, until New Age Outlaws try and run away again, which ends with Road Dogg hitting Hawk with a cooler at ringside that just happens to be there. To me, this is the most interesting part of the match, as we have Billy working over Hawk. It's generic, heel heat stuff, rope choking, a few knee drops in there, a bit of a chin lock in there as well. You get the, of course, that doesn't last too long because old Hawk needs his hot tag, gets the double clothesline, and gets just a double clothesline spot with Billy to get the tag. Animal comes in, batters them both, of course, shoulder blocks, power slams, all kinds of stuff, run throughs them both. LOD look like they're about to win, of course, because it's LOD, even here in 1987, only for Henry O'Godwin, Michael, to come out, hit Animal with the slot bucket, and of course, Hawk the Moron grabs the bucket, tries to use it himself, and gets DQ'd here for another DQ finish here on the show. But again, one of those ones where I feel like, and this continues to be the talking point with the Road Warriors. Like, if this was the 80s, it'd be like, oh, what bullshit, why did the referee do that? When you're watching it in 1987, it feels a bit like, yeah, you're a fucking idiot, aren't you, mate? Road Dogg and Billy have actually really outsmarted you there. Why would you do that? Like, and I think, to me, Roddy and Billy come off best in this one, and LOD look like the 80s goons they definitely feel like here. But what say you on this one, mate? It was something of a match before we got the finish.
Yeah, 80s goons in both work and shoot here, isn't it? Like, far be it for me to call Road Dogg and Billy Gunn smart, but they've won a game of like 4D chess with the Legion of Doom here, haven't they? I would honestly believe, considering what we're going to cover on the next edition of Housekeeping in terms of how they're put on screen together more than once with Shawn and Triple H, I wonder if they've had a word with these two and kind of explain it to them like, right, what's the thing where it's going to be like somebody tells you the secrets of life when you're of like a certain age and you're coming of age, and it's like, and here's how it's going to work. I think it's like they open the gold briefcase from Pulp Fiction, and in there is all the secrets of A, how to be a bastard, but B, how to actually get over. And it's like, well, one of the things you have to do is you have to deal with all these old fossils that are still stupid and jacked up and think all of this is real. So you've got to make them feel like big, hard fellas that are beating you up in this work sport. And then at the end, you need to get 1997 Benno and Hamflett to think, I like them two smart guys. Fuck these old cunts. Like, and you watch that play out over the course of this match, don't you? I think it's like, that is the story of the match, if you want to call it that. But the real life story is happening in stereo with it. Jim Ross has even clocked on. Jerry Lawler has clocked on. About a month ago, and obviously Jim Ross is the first guy to call them outlaws on screen, isn't he? So you can see that it's a push. The company are with them. They want this to work. But there's almost like a mocking, condescending tone to Jim Ross's commentary early on. They're like, oh, yeah, real cool. They're getting a lot of heat, these idiots, all this kind of, like, he doesn't really get it initially. But here, I think he does, because he's like, oh, come on, King. Like, one man distracts, the other man cheats. What he's doing there is he's laying out to you what their strategy is. So you start looking for it and you start kind of appreciating it. You're like, oh, that's quite clever, actually. Like, the LOD, they look like they're winning on points, but are they really? Because every time Billy Gunn takes the ref, Road Dogg like pulls a leg or whatever, and it's just like, I quite like that about the New Age Outlaws. And then, as you say, for the finish, like the idea that like Hawk would be talked into it backstage, being like, you're not winning the belts back. Right. Okay. Can we pin you? Absolutely no chance. I am not looking with you and getting my shoulders pinned to the mat. Want to beat me up with a bucket? Yeah, the fans will believe me if I beat you up with a bucket. They've completely like worked them, haven't they? They've hypnotized them or brainwashed them into whatever, because that would have been like, Hawk has still got that brain of like, yeah, and we'll come back next Friday night and we'll beat him in the steel cage. And it's like, no, mate, you're getting nowhere near these belts ever again. See you later. Catch you down the road. And I'm there for it. Lawler says at the end, like and again, I think this is like a very pointed like line that has been fed to the commentators when they're doing the summary. Jim Ross is like, oh man, you got to feel for the Legion of Doom, like they're just, the Godwins are out there, these outlaws. Well, he's not calling them the outlaws yet, but Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, these yahoos, these idiots. And Lawler's like, yeah, but like, how many chances are they going to get? And you then think, good point. When are we going to be done with this? When are we going to move on? And it's just beginning of the end stuff, isn't it?
There's no better example of like the two worlds that were between here. The Road Warriors are literally going backwards in time, and it's fucking isn't lost on me. Jesse James and Rockabilly have got their finger on the pulse and their finger on where we should go, and it it works. It works for them, but obviously, like I say, LOD not long for this world. But I think Vince has got to pull some Jedi mind tricks on them, like he did in the 80s when he got something to sell back then. Just keep them happy enough to get to hit their moves, but they're not going to be the talking point at the end of it. So no, again, the positive story of the New Age Outlaws continues here, like I say, and we go from there into. So, speaking of the past, going into the future, our next match, which is set up with a recap video, as we have our boot camp match between Sergeant Slaughter and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, with a recap video that might as well be from the 1920s, showing a load of Sergeant Slaughter footage of wrestling in literal black and white in grainy buildings that obviously, again, to us as kids, might as well have been 400 years ago, never mind 100 years ago. You get a Hunter promo here, one that like stood out to me immediately when it played. I was like, oh, why do I feel like I've seen this promo a million times? It's the obviously he talks about this is not your generation, it is the generation. Goes on about visiting Sarge's old lady, and I'm watching it going, is it that stuff? Is that what, like, as a 13-year-old, maybe rewind and play this a whole time? And then I realised what I thought was cool about it was the yellow H3 t-shirt that he's wearing here, and I wanted to own it. So at some point, maybe I'd convince myself that I was a Hunter fan enough to want a t-shirt here, and obviously I'll let you talk, but it's bookended with the Sarge promo himself, who's not coming for a wrestling match. He's coming for a fight. Again, speaking of the 80s, calls Hunter a puke and a maggot. Ends with, and that's an order to set up our military themed grudge match. But yeah, thoughts on the promos here, and did you think Hunter's 1987 t-shirt was as cool as apparently 13-year-old Benno did?
I didn't, and I'm sorry about that. But like, to be fair, I don't think he was married to it, was he? Because he didn't wear it often. Like, he didn't wear that shirt a lot. I'm going to try and hold my water here before we actually get to the match and thoughts on the match. But there's no getting away from it. Like, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird that we have arrived here.
Why is this happening?
Why is this happening? Like, it's almost as if they were going to let if Rick Rude, if Ravishing Rick, should I say, hadn't gone back to WCW, and they were going to let him wrestle, but it was like a non-match. You could understand Ravishing Rick versus Sergeant Slaughter in a boot camp match, couldn't you? Rude comes out and he takes his suit jacket off, and he's got like his shirt unbuttoned, and he's got like jeans on, and like his ECW Rick Rude outfit sort of thing. You could imagine him in a boot camp match with Slaughter, where Slaughter, as he says, I'm old, but I'm not dead. He was 49 when the show aired, by the way, just for everybody listening. But yeah, he was presented like he was like from caveman times.
Yeah, 1992.
His red elbow pads, the same one that he would wear in his last singles run. Like, yeah, this feels like a spot that might have been set up for Ravishing Rick, and because he's gone, it's like, well,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm completely speculating there. Because then they're a bit more like for like, aren't they? That's a bit more like if it was going to be a D-Generation X pay-per-view, Triple H probably would have had someone else to wrestle, and then you've got all three members of DX that can work with China as the sort of the manager figure for each one, and instead you get this, and it's just the promos don't do anything to stop it. The build all being about Triple H wanting to shag his wife, and then the boot camp almost being like incidental to it. We'll get to it in the match. Weird. It doesn't ever stop being weird, all of this.
Do you think if it was Rick Rude in place of Sergeant Slaughter, he'd also come out to Delberg's song instead? I mean, the disrespect. The body's barely cold. Why are they giving the song to Sarge already? Like, I remembered in my head that like it was a trivia note, wasn't it? Who used to use Kurt Angle's music, and you could answer Del Wilkes or you could answer Sergeant Slaughter. I forgot he was here though. What a weird time. Do you think no one's going to notice? Like, what is that about? It's like so bizarre. The least bizarre of the many bizarre things here, but still.
2 months since Rick Rude threw coffee in Patriot's face, and that was the last we saw of him.
In an alternate universe, yeah, they could be in the Patriot versus Rick Rude. Maybe we would have got that dream match instead. But hey ho, we get this instead. I'll do my best to recap it, but if you want to cut it over, there is a lot of weirdness in this one to dissect. I mean, we start early with obviously Hunter jumping old Sarge once you got the entrances out the way. Sarge ends up fighting back with, I've got written on my notes here, an army man stick. I don't really understand what is it. I think I'm supposed to understand what it is, but apparently it's a thing army blokes in America hold. I don't know.
A military, like it's like a riding crop that you'd like whip a horse with, isn't it? But like in the army, you're allowed to say that soldiers, like the.
Yeah, where's the horse then? That's what I want to know. But I think Lawler at some point calls it a riding crop. Bizarre. Gives Sarge an opportunity though to hit some corner stomps. A bit of a gut buster in there as well. Sends Helmsley into the railings. Goes for a pin on the outside, which is just like what? The referee has to remind them. Pins up. Is that Sarge forgetting? Is that supposed to be a story point? I'm not 100% sure what it is, because it's not even like it's a momentum change, is it? Because he keeps battering Hunter, throws him into the steps, takes his belt off, stops using it as a weapon and such as well. It's a little bit before the Hunter control segment, so I'm guessing Sarge just forgot. Is that what that is?
I think he did. Like, I think he must have had those boot camp matches where they show the clips of the brawls, the bloody brawls, and the like, where there probably was the fact that you could pin anywhere in the building. And I think he's just assumed it without double checking, and there's been like a communication breakdown, because, as you say, it's not like it stopped him in his tracks, is it? It's like, he's old, he's an idiot, he's forgot the rules, and it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't work within the story, does it? So it's like
bizarre. Well, we get Helmsley obviously taking control after they're countered and escaping the Cobra clutch, which to me was never Sarge's finish. It was the camel clutch. Come on, I grew up in the 90s. But anyway, 80s kids would tell you otherwise. Sends Slaughter into the ring post. And to be fair, Slaughter takes a mighty bump. There's a few of them in this match where it really feels like he's trying to make up for the fact that he's ancient. Well, not really by today's standards, but at least in the 90s. So he's just like, fuck it, I'll fly everywhere. I'll take fucking Cactus Jack bumps to the outside. So he takes a big one there.
Like, there's a brilliant, it's when Sid eliminates him from the 92 Rumble. He does it with that spot.
Yeah, he seems to love it, doesn't he?
Slaughter loves that bump, and he takes it well.
Yeah, he does. Well, amongst the bump, there's a note that I hope you've got in your notes here, mate. As JR and Lawler are doing a bit of chatter about army stuff. To which point JR says to Jerry Lawler, "What do you know about Da Nang, Vietnam, Jerry?" And I'm like, looking out my window, go, "What? Like, did I just hear that?" Rewind the back. That is, in fact, what they said. Who knew? Maybe that was like a little like nugget that got planted in 13-year-old Benno's head. That like, when I'm about to turn 42, I'm going to be living there one day, and it's going to be a nice beach town and not a place America sends all their army. But I believe that's why they sent their army as well. They all love hanging around the beach. That's what I believe. And today it's Cody Hall instead. But anywho, that's a thing that
I'd be more scared of Jerry Lawler turning up at your front door than the US Army. I think I don't know what to do.
Very true, but yeah, bizarre. I didn't never caught that. Obviously, in the past, we get a bit of, obviously Hunter's going, and I feel like some of the stiffer shots in this match is trying to get the fucking bell off Mark Eaton, which like it's proper like pushes him backwards, which isn't so bad. But I'm seeing in the back of his head, smacks the railings. Like, doesn't look like a nice bump for Mark Eaton, and I don't think Hunter in 1997 gives any fucks. But it allows Sarge to counter a little bit before Hunter throws Slaughter into the ring. He uses the belt to do a bit of a beel to Sergeant Slaughter. He wraps the chain around his right hand as well. This point, we get Slaughter rallying back, though. He counters with some punches of his own. But in the end, Helmsley backdrops into the floor. But again, Sarge is loving it. I think he preferred it to be concrete on the floor there before he... but just to live out his deathmatch fantasies, I'm not sure. But obviously, he gets Hunter goes to the top rope randomly, which he doesn't often do, which, of course, is an indication that Sarge is going to get the boot up. We then get a weird spot where, like, Sarge is supposed to be back on top now, but he can't quite execute a body slam to Tripp. So I'm not sure what happens there, but they redo the spot with a suplex reversal instead, clearly called on the fly by super worker Paul Levesque, to which Slaughter himself tries to go up top, gets power slammed off. At that point, you got Helmsley throwing the sleeper on Sarge, as Sarge is battling as much as anything just to keep his pants up. He manages to. Men of a certain age. We've all been there. We've all been there. It's that meme, isn't it, where it's like I'm dead lying on the floor and I'm still like pulling my t-shirt down just to hide my my old man belly. Like, it's literally that, isn't it? Like, he's just making sure.
He's not working the sleeper, is he? He's working the trousers. Like, he's completely stopped selling the sleeper. Oh shit, my trousers are coming in there.
We've both done live shows on stage, and I'm sure we both had those moments. I'm not sure, man. Yeah. Okay, I'm good. He's had one of those. But Slaughter attempts to counter it, trying to get him from behind and hits him. Then bumps the ref, which is again a gnarly bump. I feel like the ref and the timekeeper take the biggest bumps in this one, only for Slaughter to come back, and it gets a bit of a pop this, to throw some white powder in Chyna's face. Hunter then uses a combat boot. I think Slaughter's supposed to duck, because they do the spot again, where eventually Slaughter does duck, gets the Cobra Clutch on, only for Chyna to get involved again, kicks Slaughter low, Helmsley, kick, wham, pedigree, onto a chair, in fairness. 1, 2, 3. And in fairness, like Undertaker and Ric Flair at Survivor Series 91, Hunter takes the majority of the impact on this one onto his knees, and he gets the win over Slaughter. And I'm sure you've got a lot to say, Michael. One of the more bizarre matches of 1997, and one supposedly loved by Matty Edwards of the Grapple universe. But what say you on this one?
When you say Triple H took most of the pedigree, is that why Slaughter was able to kick out at 3.11111? Because I saw that.
I meant to mention that. Slaughter kicks out at 3. Lol. The 80s worker is still in a minute between him and LOT. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Oh God. There is trouble in Fed's paradise at the moment, and the last thing we need is more dissension in the ranks. But not since his takes on 2026 Roman Reigns has Matty Edwards been so wrong about wrestling, because this was fucking garbage. This was absolute boring shit, right?
Longest match in the show, too.
Of course it fucking was. It's a Triple H match, isn't it? 17 minutes, and it felt like 77. It was boring. Slaughter takes most of it, which I'd completely forgotten, by the way. Like, this babyface has had to listen to the abuse month on month by the young guy that's taken over, that won't take any shit anymore. He gets buried more in the body of this match than he got buried to the entirety in 1996. Like, Triple H barely gets a licking until... Benno, I hope I can see on the screen that you're sitting down for this. Otherwise, I'd ask you to in case you were shocked. Can you believe it that it's absolute boring shite until Chyna gets involved? Because I was shocked as well. Fuck me. Honestly. Like, just nothing happening. Sergeant Slaughter offense while Triple H sells and sells and sells and sells. Is it just that his insecurity has gone away because he knows he's going to get the 1, 2, 3 at the end? Like, is it because there's DX branding everywhere that he's finally in an act? He comes out the fucking big nose dickhead. He walks out and straight away he turns around and he looks at the set and he has this smile come across his face, like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Am I doing it, Sean? I feel like I'm talking to one of my kids riding a bike without the stabilizers. Am I a main eventer now, Sean? Like, because they put like DX on the entranceway. It's like, no, you're not, Paul. You're a long, long way off on the evidence here. Like, what a fraud. What a boring fraud. Like, I couldn't think less. Chyna was class. Like, Chyna comes in, like, immediate difference maker, sells the powder so incredibly well. Like,
that's a big pop.
I'll give this to Triple H. Like, he understands, as we've said before, the more he has come to understand what China does for him, the more he sets her up to do it. I will give him the credit there. He proper shows as much of his arse as possible to make China's no selling of it even cooler. Like, he's just taken this beating from this old fella, and China's got like blinded, and she's trying to wipe it out of her eyes to continue to kick ass. And that's like, that requires the contrast of Triple H being a massive chicken in order to like make her look all the tougher. That boot in the bollocks is class. Like, she absolutely does not hold back. So you like, maybe Slaughter said lay it in because he cares about his own, I don't know, but like, she just like leathers in with that. That's very satisfying. Otherwise, how did they land on this? How on earth did they land on this? This is like, again, I'll repeat the point. Triple H swears blind he was buried in the same 6-month period he won the fucking Intercontinental title in some half-decent mid-card matches. This is him having his big night out. Like, oh my God. I just, this is like, when you're a young man and you're kind of excited, you bought your, like, this is for people of a certain age. I don't know what the fashion would have been at different points of the people having their first night out, whether they're able to get served or they're able to drink. In my case, it would have been a shirt with a dragon on it or some writing that I couldn't read or whatever from Top Man. But this idea in your head, it's going to be the perfect night, and it's going to be like that film you've seen or that TV show you've seen, and your crack's going to be spot on, and you're going to drink just the right amount to make yourself confident without overdoing it. Smash hard cut to you kind of falling asleep in a club or being sick outside a parked taxi or something like that. This is Triple H's December on TV versus December on television. It's like Shawn has kicked every door open for you, and this is how you repay him. Like, what a load of stinking shit.
I just don't understand how it gets past like the desk of Vince McMahon or a Vince Russo or anybody like there who's like, yeah, that's what we want to do. We're having a go at WCW for putting all the fucking old men in the cage. Let's put Sergeant Slaughter on a pay-per-view as we head into 1998 here. Like, it is completely bizarre and so counter to everyone else they're doing. And it's like, it's not, I could believe it if it was like, they had a Mick Foley equivalent that was playing commissioner at this point, and it was like, he's beloved by the fans. Like, Slaughter's he's getting literally slaughtered by fucking Austin, by DX, and the fans are cheering when anyone does it. Like, he is completely just watered down mush as a character. No authority, and I know that's part of the gimmick as a character, but like, not in general, because he's been getting it from both sides. Like, were they expecting people to be sympathetic for him? Were they expecting people to be like, I remember watching him in the 70s and 80s, I'm gonna love this stuff. Like, it's so counter to what we're trying to do everywhere else here. It's the third pillar now of like gang rules, like that bullshit, brawl for all, and putting Sergeant Slaughter in the ring again. How is no one backstage going, we should probably do not that? Why don't we just bring Owen Hart, but back early, and we'll do him and Hunter instead? Like, do anything else other than this?
You make a great point there. It's completely like philosophically trapped in a crossfire, isn't it? How is it that, like, well, hang on, in the last match, the Legion of Doom are old idiot dinosaurs that need putting out to pasture, but in this one, we're supposed to cheer for Sergeant Slaughter. What are the rules, WWF? What's the rules? Like, Bret Hart is apparently too old, and that's why we've shipped him off to the other fossils down in WCW. But Sergeant Slaughter is older, and we're supposed to cheer for him. Like, authority figures are increasingly becoming the people you're supposed to push back against, but now you want us to, like, cheer for the commissioner. It's like, it's a
lame duck commissioner at that,
Yeah, he's not even, we already know he's not the guy, like, just philosophically it's all over the shop, narratively it's a mess, and it's a poor match. Again, like, I tell you what, right, if you did do a swap, I'm not for a second advocating that Slaughter fights for the world title. It's not Royal Rumble 1991, but like, hypothetically, let's just say that it was going to be Rude, and then Rude goes, and like, Shawn just decides to be Shawn one night and goes, all right, like, watch this. Like, I think you might get something out of Shawn Michaels versus Sergeant Slaughter. The contrast, the visual difference, Shawn just being Shawn about it and being like, I am going to watch what I do here, everybody else on this roster, and then tell me that you can take my spot, because look what I just did with this fat old gadgy that can't move anymore. Look what I just did for him. Like, I could almost see Shawn trying to extract something entertaining out of this. But hot take for the millionth time, Triple H was and will never be Shawn Michaels. So, like, here's more evidence of it.
Well, the good news is, mate, he spends the next 25 years trying to be, but yeah, that is unfortunately. I don't think we'll have a Benno and Hamflett series in the future where we are still going at in 2019 based on the Graps and Claps show last week. So fingers crossed we don't have to cover some of this. But yeah, he is just like I think that's the thing as well. Like to your point earlier, I think Hunter's trying. Like I think he's clearly got, and you get that from him. He's got like a grudging respect, hasn't he, for like 70s, 80s style wrestlers. So I think he is actually giving Sarge loads, thinking that he's doing it out of some kind of respect. But even then, his instincts are off, because it's like, if there was ever a moment, mate, to be a dickhead and to just fucking batter him, this was it, wasn't it? Like, this was it. And he can't even do that. The fucking buffoon. So there you go. He'd learn that lesson, though, as we go.
You wouldn't think that Triple H, Paul Levesque, was influenced by the most boring fucking era of WWF ever, would you? Like, I think he's the Worldwide Wrestling Federation's one fan outside of those Twitter accounts that post GIFs and lie. Like, it's just like, nobody likes that shit. I don't even think Vince McMahon Jr. liked that shit. That's why he changed it. Like,
I can promise the people out there, Benno and Hamflett Season 5 will be something covering fucking Punk or ROH. We will not be covering fucking Harley Race wannabe Triple H with his little mustache. That is never coming. But there you go. That's that. And yeah, as advertised, totally agreement with you. Just crap on it. It just wasn't good, and it belonged nowhere near a pay-per-view. And maybe that's another one of those things that's stuck in my memory of like, what am I watching here? Why is Hunter having to work this bloke? But we go from there into we got a Jeff promo backstage. This is Michael Cole again, who again, I just don't understand. Like, is this a Vince McMahon edict? Oh, he's going to be making his in-ring debut. JR says it later on in the show as well. Like, I mean, Jeff calls Michael Cole Mark, which I feel like is on purpose, and goes on about it being only a best at a time until he becomes the WWF champion. Calls himself the best wrestler in the world. That catchphrase never gets over, but. What did he try in here? Like, I mean, we're also acknowledging that he's been there before. So, like, is it just one of those Vince McMahon things that we'll call it a debut, and that's what it is?
He's got it. I tell you what, Jeff, right? He's got a cheek having a go at Steve Austin a few weeks ago, because he does that line, doesn't he? Like, I'm adding Undertaker to my list. And as soon as somebody talks like that about a list in this era, you just snap into Austin. And I'm fixing to start running through all of them. It's like, Jeff, mate, like, even when you grow your goatee in and cut your hair, you're still not going to be Steve Austin. So I would, for God's sake, avoid the rattlesnake for 5 seconds. It's done you no good so far. Like, and I never, as I can, as a Jeff Jarrett apologist, defender, fan, I'm a fan. Has there ever been a time where he was less, like, where his finger was less on the pulse? Like, I was thinking about this after we'd recap those shoot interview things, the work shoot interviews. Like, you're a bigger WWE fan, full stop, than I am, right? I know that, like, the NWO was running roughshod over the Horsemen at this point, but is he even right about the fact that he didn't get an opportunity in WCW? Because from my memory of it, he was fucking there every week. I know they wouldn't allow him to be officially called a Horseman, and there was all that weird politics with Ric Flair, but it wasn't like he wasn't on telly. He was always there on Nitro in his shitty country singer Jeff Jarrett attire, still trying to get something going. Like, he was used. Like,
yeah. He absolutely was. Like, he was on the TV, like I say, solid, like, mid-card use. Whether he thought he should have been in the Horsemen properly or in the NWO, I think was probably more to the point, as like a proper, top-end guy. Like, maybe, I mean, knowing Jeff, that's probably exactly what he thought. But like, my memory of his WCW run, it's like this, and I think you're one of the few people who understand this. It's like, there's something, he looks too dry. Like, there's something about, he just doesn't, he's lost like that slick coolness, like call it baby oil or whatever it is. There's just something very dry about him. It's like dry food. Like, that's what he looks like.
Like, he only wore the white version of his attire. Like, think about that gear and how it needs colours. Like, his
it's the plain flavour.
So,
plain flavour, like, Jeff.
Salt and shake Jeff Jarrett, where you've got to apply your own salt, and the blue bag's not been included in the packet.
That's exactly what he is. Ready salted Jeff, salt and shake Jeff. Like, he was like that in WCW, and that was the thing. Like, he was never going to get over like more than he did, because he was like a bland version of what felt quite charismatic in the WWF, and I could never put my finger on it. Like, and he's pulled that back with WWF.
I know you can't, like, I know in 1997, God forbid you put over like a wacky cartoon gimmick from 2 years earlier, but like, Jeff's was a good one. He wasn't a bin man. He wasn't a clown. He was a fairly logical extension of a big head. That was what he was, wasn't he? Like the In Your House 2 we talked about, that was Jeff the pay-per-view. Like, it was like,
it's like, when you fast forward to 98, 99, when we have full Russo, like, all of the wacky gimmicks, a pimp, a porn star, A cowboy's not that far. A cowboy singer type, country music singer, like that's not that far away, is it? Like I feel like it was an adult version of it that can work. But yeah, like I say, whatever it was that wasn't working in WCW, he brings over here. Luckily, like we said earlier, he would mostly resolve it. But yeah, he's in here for our bonus match with the Undertaker, advertised as such as well. Lucky us. Obviously, we get the big Undertaker entrance and the commentary, as is the Undertaker, very much focused on Kane. Not much to this one, mate. Obviously, Jeff jumps Taker early on, gets some punches in the corner. Of course, like the LOD, Taker takes control. You get your clothes on, you get your arm work, you get the old school rope walk set up. The Jarrett strategy on the other hand, though, leg work, chop block, mate. A pop for that from old Jeff. Targets Taker's knee for a little bit, in the words of JR, trying to Charlie horse it. Again, doesn't last very long. You get Taker ducking a line. He runs through his power slam, leg drop, big boot sequence. And just as it looks like we might be going somewhere with the match, Kane's music hits and Kane arrives and comes out. To which, by the way, JR calls him the one-eyed monster, which I'm sure 13-year-old Benno was pissing himself at, but apparently that was the name they were going with it at that point to have, again, a face-to-face with Taker and Kane, which JR calls the first time ever. I don't know what's with them. Other states, definitely not, mate. We saw it at Hell in a Cell, but anywho, they're advertising it as such. Kane chokeslams Jeff Jarrett, causing the DQ for another one on this show, and a quite funny Jeff win, but yeah, Kane and Undertaker the focus, and yeah, doesn't even get going this one.
Nah, it's fine to use this to promote the Undertaker and Kane. This is hot. This is working. Like we've praised it as much as we can. This is a nice way to round out 1997 for me, because I am very, very ready to go back to hating the Undertaker. But like I've said, I think he's the best 1997 in your house pay-per-view performer there is, and I would carry that through to this match, if only because even he was smart enough to realize that if you're going to do this Kane run-in finish and the first, like maybe JR meant to say like the first face-to-face since Bad Blood, because Undertaker's sworn he's not going to fight him or something, so that they know that they've got like a money visual of having these two brothers coming face-to-face again. And I think what the Undertaker, whilst this was nowhere near as good as Revenge of the Taker or like his carry job of Vader at Canadian Stampede or Shawn at Ground Zero, etc., a great year for the Undertaker. Like what he did realize was like, I cannot convincingly sell for this geek for like longer than 5 minutes. Imagine them doing this finish after like 10 minutes of Jeff's leg work after a chop block. It just doesn't scan, does it? It doesn't scan. So I think like Undertaker's the one with for Jeff's word, the one with the stroke in this situation, and I think he uses it well. I think let's not waste these people's time. Let's not take the piss. Yeah. Like Jarrett gets to do the comedy bit where he gets to celebrate and ill-gotten win at my expense, but come on, if this goes longer than 5, what are we doing here? So I think he uses his influence for good. And to be fair to the Undertaker, I think he's probably thinking a little bit of Jeff Jarrett. He's probably aware that this idiot has already alienated the locker room, but he remembers him from the last time, and he knows he's a solid hand, and he understands the value of good workers in his locker room. So he's probably thinking, I mean, I could kill this guy. I could cut his legs off now, and he doesn't, does he? You know, he lets him get his little kicks and stomps in before the money arrives, before the Kane story is what we're all here to see. I don't think he doesn't hurt Jeff. He just doesn't really give him much of a lift, you know.
I was going to say, you say that, Michael, but obviously, yeah, in the post-match, Jeff goes for Taker's leg. Yeah. Can't even get that. But like to your point, Undertaker then obviously, you know, rather than let Jeff like get anything, he choke slams him. Which Jeff sandbags, which if Undertaker was trying to do a favor for him, changes his mind in that moment, doesn't he? He's like, fuck you, you're done. We're having a fucking wrestler's court backstage now over this. It's over. The Jeff Jarrett revival project is dead. Although, yeah, Jeff does stick around to it to raise his arm, which did get his arm raised by the ref multiple times, which did get a bit of a laugh from me. But yeah, it's just Jeff is in a very, very weird place in the WWF right now.
The character's dead, isn't it? This character is already dead. Like we know we're going to get like other stuff to come very quickly for Jeff Jarrett, but they're finished with it.
Maybe required though. You know, maybe if he had come back, you know, exactly as he looked on WCW TV, trying to do, you know, the same old gimmick again right away. Maybe, the experimentation is where we eventually get to the right place. But there is a stop off before that as well, isn't there? Speaking of a late '90s version of old Jeff, but we go from there. Speaking of people in weird positions, we have Mark Henry in the Milton Bradley section in the crowd. When asked, he says he's going to be back in a week or so. take a mental note of that, folks. And he picks Stone Cold to win the next one. But again, sure, there's nothing could possibly be going on there.
Yeah.
But
nice that they hid a twist in this, didn't they? Which I wouldn't have thought anything of that, and I did quite appreciate that. I thought his promo was completely shitty, but then it's Mark Henry again. Do not trust the liars on the internet that tell you he was ever good, because they are not telling you the truth. Like that.
Absolutely not. Those forums should not be visited. They should be deleted from the internet, in my view. But from there we get it, and we are getting into the good stuff here. Thank God. We get the recap video, pretty much that we saw on the pre-show of, and we also get another Rock promo, which is pretty much a carbon copy of what we got on the Free for All too, in there too. But it's a WWF Intercontinental title situation now. The bit of the show that it does feel a little bit future facing, and on top of the backstage promo, actually we get another, like when Rocky makes his entrance, he cuts another one-line promo in. It's almost like someone's gone, this is working, they're just giving the microphone as we've got 10 seconds before Austin's music on it, give him the microphone for 10 seconds, let him talk. I like that, chewing scenery, continuing to get the character over, Michael. But like before we even get to the match, Rock gets that as his shine coming out, and obviously with his Intercontinental belt, as he is now the People's Champion, with Austin's belt on his shoulder. We've got to cut right to the chase. Steve Austin comes out here in a car, mate. What are we doing? Immediately, I mean, obviously it's a shortcut to do a Streets of Rage, like N-level type scene, or Street Fighter N-level type scene with Austin, so that he doesn't have to wrestle too much. But like, I could imagine my 13-year-old mind being blown here, as wild as those Raws where it is again. Like you said, they've clearly cracked. He likes to drink beer. That kind of works. Oh, he drives stuff. That's a key part of this character, isn't it? Like, and obviously, maybe took a lesson from the DOA earlier in the show. The crowd lose their minds here for Steve coming out.
The crowd, you, me, everybody, I can vividly remember sort of jumping up and down watching this at home. Like, what a monster reaction again. Like, everyone presumably has watched Austin on Raw and can't believe how cool it was that he's driven his pickup truck into the building, and then sure enough, like, they get their own version of it, and they get to tell their friends that they saw Steve Austin drive a car into the building. Like, this man is the people's babyface. Holy fuck. Like, maybe this show, maybe one of the only benefits of this card being such a dud is that when you get Austin as the contrast, they've been given their guy to reach out to say, help, please help, fix this. Because, like, the reaction here goes beyond just a babyface pop. It goes beyond a good guy coming out. This is like salvation. This is a guy that is saving the day, that is fixing the business, that is the Hulkamania of the 90s, that is the whatever, it's all of it at this point. It's not the, he's got this bit, but he's not yet doing that. Or he's got this bit, but he's not yet doing that bit. This is like the fans are telling him show after show after show after show, be our guy, be our guy. And with every little tiny addition, he just lets them feel that way, and he decides, all right, I'll be your guy. And, it's a smart bit of covering for how injured he was, obviously, and it's going to lead into something incredibly important, the fact that he drove this truck into the ringside and he was told not to. Like, there are enormous ramifications off the back of what is ultimately a bit of a stunt show in order to get through the fact that his neck's still hanging on by a thread. But Christ, he's magic. I get the goosebumps watching it. It's. I love the Rock. I love the Rock wearing his Rock trunks for the first time, and I love the way they frame the Nation promo where like Farouk is off to one side, kind of giving him a bit of a side eye for the first time. Rock's like, "Come on, Cameron Dealer, let's get out of here." And Farouk's like, "I'm gonna second." Like, you're even getting the first one. Yeah, they're moving forward with that, but it's a Stone Cold Steve Austin show, and you're absolutely mad to think otherwise, aren't you?
Oh, well, I'll take us through this, but I think there's going to be we're not here for a long time, Michael, but we're here for a good time with this one. So plenty to analyze as we go through, not the least of which, as you mentioned, the entrance, Austin making his entrance in the car, gets out, gets jumped by the Nation. And almost right away, Michael, we're to one of the most iconic spots as Austin backdrops Paul, and again, this will come back to haunt him later, young D'Lo Brown onto the truck. Smash goes the windshield. This is a moment I remember visually reacting to, and as if that's not big enough, Austin takes him to the roof of the truck and then stuns him there as well. And it's like, all right, you're my hero now. This is great. Iconic. Okay, Iconic. Shawn Michaels is wrestling next. I don't care. Steve Austin, he's the guy. I remember that moment, and this is it.
There's something too. People love the, it's more WCW than anything else. AEW have done it from time to time. The WCW ramp that feeds into the ring, that it's like a stage. Like, Austin walks over his truck into the ring. Like the first time he goes in the ring, he walks.
There's no step. He's just straight in.
That man is walking down a car. Like D'Lo's body just like rolls into the pickup truck bit of the car, and he walks down the car through the ropes. You're like, this is fucking brilliant. Like you are just. It's honestly, it's like sort of what's the phrase I'm after? It's like animalistic, isn't it? You love for him at this point. You just like your shirt's off. You're just like roaring for Stone Cold Steve Austin to be your hero, to be the man you need. It's class, man. Absolutely class.
Well, as if it couldn't get hotter from there. We're in the ring, Austin and Rocky trade punches. Austin's still got his jacket on, which feels to me like maybe Austin's not back in the shape he wants to be yet, and he's trying to cover up a little bit. So. You can see him like as he's rolling around, kind of pulling it over a bit like Rock used to with his trackies. He'd learn that lesson later too as well. But obviously the rest of the nation's still around. Jump Austin, and I think this is it's like a stunt movie or something like that. Like Kama accidentally hits Farouk, doesn't he, with like the chair, but like they use like the backdrop of the car to make like the loudest sound you'll ever hear. Like, is Farouk dead here? Only for like Farouk to crumple over, Austin to grab Karma, and then fucking launch him to the truck as well. It's just the sound of it, isn't it? As well as being this foreign object that shouldn't be there again, like it's a Street Fighter or a Streets of Rage game. Like, it is just fucking cool seeing people launch into it.
Mm-hmm. It's like, again, they're doing so much with really, when you think about it, so little. There's not much space to maneuver because of where the truck is, and the aisle's not particularly big. You've only got a couple of weapons to be able to lay your hands on. It's 1997 and it's Steve Austin. You can't get the Slim Jim table out. You can't get the kendos. You've kind of you've got to make it feel environmental, haven't you? So the idea is just like a chair just happens to be there, and Austin's got to be so clever as to let the baddies beat each other up and just be the one to stick and move and stuff like that. And I would say they've thought through every element of this, but Austin doesn't strike you as a guy that would have wanted to do too much in the way of a rehearsal. He'd have probably pictured it in his head and then been like, well, let's feel out those little bits live. And because his instincts are the best in fucking wrestling history, you get moments like this that play out, like whatever they've mapped out. Like, I'm sure Bruce Pritchard has done Conrad podcasts on this. Whatever they've mapped out about how much space they've got, or how much room, or which wrestler does what or whatever, it's still not as good as what Steve Austin produces live when the red light's on. It's like, that's as much what makes him the top guy in waiting as anything else.
Totally. And that's why this feud is perfect as well, because Nation of Domination, you've got Farouk won't like it in character and out of character, but you've got a lot of goons as well to provide distractions to make that movie cutscene feel that you get here. And obviously, as you mentioned, Rock uses that distraction to take over, again, beating up Austin in his little jacket, which he refuses to take off. Hits, as we mentioned on Housekeeping, the unnamed people's elbow here on Austin. Grabs a sleeper in the most pro wrestling segments of the match, where it's just, all right, let's just slow down here for 15 seconds before obviously he gets pulled with that and goes for a second people's elbow. But yeah, Chekhov's people's elbow, when a heel does something like that, it's gonna be missed. Allows Austin to come back with the corner butthole stumps. Entire place is fucking going crazy. And I love the setup of the going back and forth. Rock's got the knucks, and I was thinking, I don't remember Rock using knucks for the finish in this one. No, because it's a distraction, doesn't work. Austin manages Austin goes for the stunner, doesn't he? Gets countered. He then ends up stunning the ref by mistake, because the ref again is in the perfect / wrong spot to get stunned there. That gets a gigantic pop again. If you're going to do anything in this match to cover it with bells and whistles and not make Austin have to take much, what do? Put him in a sleeper, have him take multiple people's elbows, and then on offense, what should you do? Just do as many fucking stunners as possible. Because after he stuns the ref, he does manage to catch the Rock as he's trying to use those brass knucks, stuns him, pins him as the second referee comes out to make the count, and Steve Austin retains the Intercontinental title. So much there, Michael. It's so little, but it's like a wrestling match within a wrestling match. There's a shine in there. There's a little bit of heat in there, and then there's an entire comeback in there. And was it really a car, some stunners, and a couple of people's elbows? Brilliant.
It's funny that you mentioned the structure, because I was thinking about that. I was like, right, how you've got a very, very injured man who, as you say, by the point of the jacket, there's a bit of a tell there that physically he doesn't, aesthetically he doesn't feel in the best shape, but obviously physically he knows that his neck's not great, but he's not going to give this run up and he's not going to sell it really. Meanwhile, you've got a guy like The Rock who is probably for the first time becoming aware of what he should try and protect about himself. when it comes to a match and how we should ultimately allow these three guys to be his goons. And if he's going to lose this match, he's going to lose it in the most impressive way possible. So the two of them will be wanting to bring stuff to the table. And you behind the scenes, you almost imagine Austin being like, okay, so I'm going to do this, and this. I'm the best. I'm Steve Austin. I'm pulling the wagon. So you're going to listen to me and we're going to do it this way. But then Rock's saying, fine, but can I have this? Can I do this? And Austin being like, yeah, all right. And nobody, nobody's getting politicked out of anything here. The Rock gets just enough. He gets a lot of his character over in the process. And the spot for me that kind of sums this up beautifully is how because the Rock's been so on. I mean, this is the first example we'll get for about a year and a half of chin rock, where if in doubt, you need 15 seconds to slow it down. The Rock, he loves that chin lock, doesn't he? That was his safety net for a couple of years around this time, which doesn't really.
Randy Orton watched them tapes and was like, okay, that.
yeah, that's it. Randy Orton's being told, surely if I watch the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, I'll find something fun. And then he picks the most boring element of the Rock's oeuvre. The Rock has been on top of Austin in a way that Austin doesn't like. So the second that he's distracted with a Nation member, the reason he stuns the ref is because the ref is trying to drag Austin away from punching Karma, and Austin just feels hands on his shoulders. So he's going that's the Rock. I'll take advantage here. Bang. That kind of tacitly puts the Rock over as a threat, doesn't it? Because if Austin's thinking, I need to get him now, because Austin's brilliant here, man. He stuns the ref thinking it's the Rock, and to that point, he crawls over and covers the referee. And then looks and goes,
oh, I missed that. Yeah, of course.
I've stunned the ref. He's not bothered. He's the Texas Rattlesnake. He's I've stunned the wrong guy. Up I get, back to the fight. But that's how desperate he was to win. That puts over the Rock. That tells you that he considers the Rock enough of a big deal that he's got I need to beat this guy, And I think that's that shouldn't go we're going to have a lot of fun talking about Steve Austin's political machinations over the years, because he's a smart worker and he's a smart worker. But I think he does give the Rock enough here, and obviously Rock lives up to it as well. This at the point at which the Rock puts the chin lock on to just show how effective this match was. I don't know if I've heard this before or ever again, other than in video games, but there was a 316 chant. Did you clock that? The fans were going 360. When did that ever get chanted? But it's just we've chanted Austin a lot. Should we chant something else to help him? I just want to sing for him. It's that sort of. It's sports stuff, isn't it? It's we just need to keep going for him because he's going to keep going for us. Absolutely amazing. Jim Ross is phenomenal on the call here. The story he has decided to tell this month with Austin is that here is a man that never gives up. The visuals of the car, they'll tell the story themselves. What else can I do to add to it? He's not just a guy that brings a car in and drinks beer. I'll talk about how he's got guts and how he's got desire and how he's just returned from a neck surgery, and look at him. He's Jim Ross knows that when Austin goes to the pay window, he's going as well. So he's fully on board with making sure this push sticks. I love that Jim Ross is the guy at the desk for all of this. And even down to the important stuff. What's next? Steve Austin is a guy that always wanted to know what's next. And Jim Ross, amidst celebration and Steve finally taking his jacket off and holding the belt up, and it's this dickhead, The Rock, and the Nation have finally been dealt with. Jim Ross Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold. I mean, he probably shouldn't have driven a truck into the building, and he's hit the ref. That could get him in some trouble, but who cares? Stone Cold. And it's there it is. Tune into Raw tomorrow night, because what's going on there?
Those seeds.
And we're about to all get fucking rich is what's about to happen there. But I love that. Nobody would think necessarily to put that within the body of this match, and they're don't miss that detail out. Is this all right that he's just driven a car in and used the car as a weapon? Is that he's hitting refs and not really giving a shit? Is that okay? And you don't know, but soon enough you'll know.
It's the first sign that, maybe not even the first sign. Obviously, we've seen some of it so far, with the Owen stuff. But, they've realized, we've got to call it outside the lines here. If we're going to make this work, and it ends up being the case for a while, that Austin is not, 100%, or ever, physically able to go back to his old style, but certainly not 100% for this time period. We've just got to come up with other stuff, haven't we? We've got to come up with other ways to do it. If that we've talked a lot through the show, like that forced creativity. They've just got to throw stuff at the wall. They've got to find how can we transplant the energy of the Steve Austin character on TV to his pay-per-view matches. And ironically, like we talked about with that Brett match, that was a bit of a stinker that people often forget. Like it's actually not that easy to do, because you really want to see Steve Austin have wrestling matches. What you really want to see is this nonsense, isn't it? And obviously they form something more like wrestling matches that we're going to get into in the 1998 in your houses. But really, the principle of them and the feel of them remains like this now, doesn't it? Like they almost have to, but it's good that they have to. Like otherwise, like who knows how history would have worked out. Like this is actually, for all intents and purposes, however they got here or not, how Steve Austin should look on pay-per-view when he's having his matches. Yeah,
this is an escalated template from the match he had with Owen Hart at the Survivor Series, isn't it?
Totally. That's what I was thinking.
There's baddies. There's a truck this time, obviously, but he was basically doing what he was doing to Karma and Farouk. He was doing it to Bulldog and Neidhart, wasn't he? You know, it's like, right,
give me people with stables is what he's thinking, and he just give me people with goons.
Yeah, brilliant, amazing stuff.
Yeah, add some people to DX is probably what he was thinking as well. But again, we'll get there and whether that happens or not. But no, brilliant stuff. Like just by a country mile. It's not even really a match. It's the best thing on the show, isn't it? Like massively so. Like, and again, an indication of the good times to come, even if this is overall quite a moody show. But yeah, speaking of which, that takes us to our main event, as we have a recap once again of the Shawn Michaels and Ken Shamrock feud. We have Ken Shamrock backstage with Jim Cornette. Apparently, he's going to make Shawn scream like a baby. We do get in fairness, I do enjoy that we followed him through backstage through to his entrance. I think that's always cool to see with the dun 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 music in the background. Shawn less so. I don't know what you make of this, but it felt a bit Brett to me as he cuts a promo to camera. Wants to call Jim Ross a fat tub of goo because he accuses him of trying to offend people. It's like, oh, have I just offended you again? He then goes on about Hunter not breaking wind with Sarge. Oops, he just did now. Even 13-year-old me thought that was probably immature for the time. He then, and I'm sure you've got this noted, redoes the fat tub of goo line because he remembered he wanted to call Jim Ross Garth Brooks, and he's not going to let that joke go. Like, I mean, what did you make of this?
And he was right to do so. Get that one out.
It's probably the best part of it. Although when I was 13, I probably didn't know what a Garth Brooks was, so maybe it lands more on a 42-year-old Benno.
Let's not throw the Heartbreak Kid out with the bathwater here. Garth Brooks was worth circling back around to. It's just a shame that he blew his spot and stepped on his own dick in the first minute of the promo. Garth Brooks, what a dick, man. What an absolute dick. This is the time to talk about it, right? Because you get him in the background, you get the shot of him walking in the ring, which again, are you the same as me? Like you heard him, he did this little yell or this little shout, and you're like, is that working, Shawn, or is that shoot, Shawn? Is he just screaming because he's ill? And he's just like, right, here I go. Like, as he felt his back or his leg or his knees or his neck twinge, and is he just being an arsehole, and is he just shouting for some poor intern to get out the way because he's holding a clipboard or something? It's just, I wish I'd have wanted longer of Shawn in the backstage area on the way to the ring. But would I have even been able to concentrate, Benno? Because as much as I love this man in white, like if you're going to put him in dark colours, we're dealing with all-time Shawn Michaels attire here, aren't we? Like podium stuff, this.
Oh, this is why, like, in every game since, like, 1998, like, he'd come in this attire, the black, obviously with the green entrance. And to be fair, like, his entire entrance rig out is pretty much, at least the pants part, is the template for what he'd wear in the Jesus Shawn era, isn't it? Pretty much. It's like, just give me them and make them a ring attire. But, like, the black and green, like, it feels like something that was around, you saw him do more. But really, what have we got? This pay-per-view and the Taker match at Rumble? Like, that's it, isn't it? One more where we get to see it.
This is it for the black tights. He's in red for the Undertaker match.
Is he? Yeah. Just red for Austin, isn't it? I'd forgotten that. Yeah.
I think he wears. I'd need to go back and check, and we'll maybe get there next month. You know when they do him and Hunter do the daft shite next month with the European title.
Yeah, the lay down stuff.
Yeah, he's wearing a China t-shirt because he's trying to suck up to China. I think they both come out in China t-shirts to suck up to China. But I think he wears the X top over a China t-shirt, but even then he's not wearing he's wearing different trunks. He's wearing like different tights, should I say. I think these are, unless it's a house show, obviously. I'll wait for the Vault to upload some like rarities or something sometime soon. But it's a bit like Brett's orange tinted Survivor Series 1996 gear. It's pretty much a one and done for what is basically then becomes an all-time favorite.
See, even I'm remembering like having worn it more, and like I say, it becomes iconic, doesn't it? Through like the video games and stuff like that, and it feels like something DX Shawn should have worn his entire run. But there you go. I don't think we do see it again. But gotta say, it is a cool visual. You know, obviously we enjoy the backstage stuff, but like seeing Shawn come out to the DX theme, like say Hunter came out to it earlier, as did Jim Cornette, but something feels right about it as well, and cool. It's like, okay, we've completed the puzzle now. Like, it is a little bit weird, them all coming out to Sexy Boy. Like, this is the one, as much as we were waxing lyrical about it earlier today, it must be said.
He's done it as well, hasn't he? Like, it's, again, we've made the comparisons, and they're all negative, really, for, like, this being sold out. But he's feeling good. He's like, right, Hall and Nash got their vanity pay-per-view, and, like, he wanted the Alamo Dome to be his vanity pay-per-view, but he wasn't very well. He couldn't get a second good match out of Sid. It didn't draw. They were giving free tickets away in Taco Bell. You know, like, this is different. This is his. He's done it. He's chased Brett off. The show's called DX. He's got his special game made for it. He's keeping the title at the end of the night. Like, there's a look on his face that's like, it's almost like one across to Scott and Kevin in it of being like, I've done it as well. Like, my NWO's over now. Like, yours, we're done with you. Like, I've done my own version of your shit, and it's going to be bigger, actually. Like, there's a look on his face. He doesn't know what's about to happen to him in January, does he? He thinks it's not going to, like, it's the only way is up for Shawn Michaels from here in his mind.
My ad-libs are better than yours as well. All of that. It's all a competition between him and the boys. And he is still throwing up the Wolf as well, and he's still trying to throw it in there. So he knows what he's doing until eventually they do stop. But yeah, that's obviously the big entrances here. And you say Shawn knows it's his pay-per-view, so he's planning to work hard. I've been on record as saying, like, I feel like Ken's a bit of a lame duck guy in this role, or a bit of a B pay-per-view type challenger, the type of person MJF might face in his first month as champion. But we're off to the races, to be fair, from the start. Like, Shawn is doing everything he can to get this over. Like, there's long periods of this match and going from the top. Like, Shawn is he's selling pretty much from where go, isn't he? Like, selling his ribs. He's loses the striking exchange with Shamrock, only to get kicked to the floor. He's then outside moaning to the referee. Shamrock's again the back in the ring. He's dominating when the fist fight comes. They're fighting back and forth. Throws in a suplex, clothesline. Shawn's out to the outside again. He gets his little cheap shot in to throw Shamrock to the floor and get a crossbody that doesn't quite work. But even then, Shamrock's still fighting back. Like, he gives Shamrock so much in these early stages of the match.
Oh God, yeah. I've got great in capital letters whenever it's followed by the word bumps in the early sort of paragraph of my notes here. Like that, he takes a backdrop where his toes pretty much touch the ceiling of the building. If Ken Shamrock, it's like proper like rockers stuff when they would fight like the Twin Towers or the Powers of Pain or something, isn't it? And this is like 1997 Shawn going back to that kind of bumping. Yeah, man. Like, there's a point where like Shamrock, he's got him. Well, like, he's got him because obviously the whole point is like Michaels is theoretically like scouted the ankle lock. So he said, your world famous ankle submission hold. So like, it's this idea, isn't it, that like, that's all I've got to worry about from you, Ken. Like, so when he's doing his, like, to sort of, for those that haven't seen the match, to paint the picture, like Benno points out, the first 2 minutes are like Shawn working his like 1995 Superstars squash style, where he just hits those ropes 100 miles an hour, tries to slide under legs, and rather than it being like King Kong Bundy, who Shawn gets the better of, he runs into Shamrock, who's the brick wall, who knocks him down. So Shawn has to get up again, and he tries running this way and that way, and none of it works. And it's like he turns his old babyface swagger into like heel panic, and it's really, really clever. But every time Shamrock traps him, it's like Shawn has forgotten, oh God, he can do all this other stuff as well. Like, he was the world's most dangerous man. I probably don't want to find myself like getting trapped in a corner and getting like hit in the face by him. Like, Shawn's selling. Like, I would put it on par. I'm not saying it's better, but like, there's a point where Shamrock is just drilling him in the face over and over and over again with punches. It's like, it's not better than Ernie Benson's against Johnny Fear, but it's pretty close. It is pretty close.
Wait till I land it, mate. Come on.
that dome is like snapping off them shoulders every time Ken gets a punch. So Shawn has to like sprint to the floor and be like, what am I going to do? What the fuck am I going to do? He's dead hard. Like, I'm not, it's like a sort of scaled down version of the early parts of the Undertaker matches, isn't it? Where he's like,
yeah,
oh, shit, he's fucking, like, I can't be such a cocky little and again, to your point about the little plan on the floor, it's always China. She like that Triple H and Shawn are dicking around and getting it wrong, and then China's like, get out of the fucking way, and just pushes Ken hard into the post. She's the only one that's got this figured out. I love how much that they look after China, don't they? And they should, because she's money. She's so valuable.
Massively, and like that, and that's the best part of this act. Pretty much, it's definitely Hunter is it in this incarnation of DX. But you're right, like he's simultaneously giving Shamrock loads, but actually giving China plenty there as well. But as you mentioned there, like you can't keep a good man down. Obviously, Shamrock's still constantly coming back, still trying to fight back. Like it is just a Shawn bumping expedition. Like the one I had to notice down, the one with, he takes the bump into the corner. You mentioned like 1995 Shawn, where he's lying there on the corner going, "Come on, Ken." Come on, Ken, come on, Ken. And then eventually Ken gets onto it because he's very much being led through the match, isn't he? But he comes and it's the comedy, sell and jump onto the rope stuff, isn't it? It's like, it's a little bit out of place in like the big main event kind of match, but you can tell he's pulling out all of the stops here to try and get Ken going and to try and make this challenger of the week who's maybe not quite to the level that you would want. It's the December pay-per-view after all. Like he's doing everything to make him feel like he's the guy.
I tell you what, to that point, and look, you can criticize Shawn Michaels all day, and me and you, as much as we love him, like won't defend his antics. And I mentioned in the housekeeping when these two have their exchanges on Raw, and Shawn's told. He's calling his spots really loud as if to sort of like embarrass Shamrock a little bit. Like you can't fault his effort here. There is the bump he takes. When Shawn wants to like Shamrock can do the Hurricane Rana, and Shawn does that thing where he wants to prove that he can as well. So he jumps on Ken's shoulders, and then Shamrock goes boom and smashes him with the Tiger Bomb. They get like a really good 2 count off it, and it's like you can see in Shawn's face. It's like the whole point of that spot was like, can you top this? And he was trying to be arrogant. Seconds earlier, Shamrock botches so catastrophically that like Michaels could have eaten him up if he wanted to. Yeah. Michaels whips Shamrock into the ropes, and Shamrock hits the ropes with such vigor that he snaps his own head on the top rope. Remember that? And he just falls to the ground. And that could have been the point that 1997 Shawn Michaels just said, you know what, fuck this. Like, I've done everything I can for you, and you do that, I'm out. He doesn't find a way to get back to what he's going to do, and he finds a way to try and reset. He tries to keep the match going. He doesn't want the fans to lose belief in Ken Shamrock, I don't think, as this hard, multi-tool player. And I think just for a split second, like, he's a favourable comparison to us, but an unfavourable one to everybody else. Shamrock's kind of had a bit of an Ahmed Johnson moment there, hasn't he? Like, he's kind of like, what you done that for? But like Shawn's not buried him for it. He's thought like, no, we're doing all right. Yeah, I think they believe in you. Let's just get back to where we were. Let's
keep it going. Like, let's give you again as much as we can, because Shawn knows, like, I've got my way. Brett's out of town. Like, actually, if I'm going to be the guy, I need guys to work with here. And like, Shamrock seems like the least threatening of those guys. You can see the machinations like going through his brain. To which point, like, the heat segment of the match is very much it's quite basic stuff, isn't it? Shawn grabbing sleepers, backdrops in there, like quite slow heel work, but. This is where I think the interference works a lot better with China and Hunter, where it's just they're picking their little rabid dog moments, and it's all building on itself, because it's like, yes, Shawn's on top because he's, the heel champion, and he should be, and, he needs to, if we're going to position this for the big Shamrock comeback, it's obviously like a necessary evil in the match to neuter the world's most dangerous man a little bit. But I love that it's like peppered with, I'm really good and I'm in control, but also I need these dickheads on the outside. Like, you could say on a show like this where there's so many bullshit finishes, and don't worry, folks, there's another one to come, and a lot of nonsense, some of it good, like the Austin stuff. Maybe this didn't need that, but I think it kind of does, because I think it plays into, well, we know where we're going at the end of this, and Ken's not going to look amazing coming out of it, so let's make it look like we need all that for this to work, and I think it works perfectly for both characters.
it's a tricky balance to strike, isn't it? There's almost that thing where like some bookers will tell you like it's not, you can't just put a card together on great matches. And like, you know, to be fair, Tony Khan, I think has attempted to push back on that and be like, I'm going to try, actually. The things I like, you're going to get 10 versions of it, and I'm going to see if you can still enjoy this. You certainly can't put like a Fed pay-per-view together on a bunch of similar stuff. And because this show has got so many shitty finishes and so much heat, like bland heat, you're right. Like, this match should have been prioritized. It's not this match's fault that it's like the fourth or fifth iteration of the cheap stuff that we've seen. It just so happens we've seen loads of cheap stuff. I can't, like, now I don't think this would happen. I think they'd be like, right, we need the cheap stuff for the main event, so you're gonna have to come up with something else, you're gonna have to come up with something else, and you're gonna have to come up with something else. Whereas on this night, like, and this is not the first time we've said this about a Russo era pay-per-view either, they're kind of not mega arsed about the fact that they've already done dodgy stuff and cheap stuff and heat stuff. Like, they'll just do it again and do it again and do it again. And the fans feel a little bit like they're not as hot for Shawn on offense as I think they would have been had they been a bit more disciplined elsewhere on the show.
Yeah, totally. And like I say, you have those little moments where, you know, like on Raw, Shawn's shouting sleeper very loudly to make sure everyone knows that he's the one putting this work together. Because again, it's a reflection on him, isn't it? As much as anything, like he wants, it's like the meta work, isn't it? Like he's the speaking of AEW, he's the first onto that. He wants everyone to know that too. But like, yeah, and to that point, for a match that I'm not, you know, I wasn't that interested in at the time, I didn't feel that interested coming into it. I think the work pays off, because when it comes to Shamrock comeback, who again is a very, like, he's still new to the business. He's very moldable still. There's only so many dimensions to Shamrock at this point. His comeback's not up to much, really. What is it? Lariats, back elbows, and power slams. But it all gets a good response, like partly because of Shawn's bumping to it, but also because of, again, it's a pretty basic structure to a match, but the way they've structured it and the way they've kept Ken strong throughout it. Like, there's a version of this match where I think Ken looks like, and maybe he does a little bit later, but like, at least at these early stages, a bit of a geek, taking so much interference on the outside and taking so much from Shawn. But again, as we were saying before, it's been laid out so well. I think it pays off here with the comeback to, you know, all leads to him getting, you know, a run and near four, which I don't think anyone in the building really buys that Shamrock gonna be the next WWF champion, but like, it feels like it in the moment. It pays off.
Yeah, I think you can get away with, you're right, like, context is everything, isn't it? You can get away with someone like a Ken Shamrock not dealing very well with the interference because he's so inexperienced. He's not really thought about it. Like, his strategy is like 2 words: be hard. Like, it's just like, I'll just hit him really hard and tap him out with my submission. He's not yet thought enough to be like, right, I actually need somebody to cut off the interference. I actually need to stop when Shawn cheats. He's not that kind of strategy wrestler. He's not Bret Hart, is he? He's not like supposed to have all the angles covered. He's just supposed to be a tough guy. To your point, like the counter, Shawn has like sort of avoided the belly to belly at all costs, and it only comes after Shawn's hit the elbow and missed switching music. Like, it's right at the end when that belly to belly hits, and that in itself puts the belly to belly over as its own kind of kill shot, doesn't it? Jim Ross, speaking of putting over, Jim Ross once again makes a big point of saying nobody does the elbow better than Shawn Michaels, and like, he's never wrong when he says it, but every single time somewhere it feels like Randy Savage has just put his foot through the
100%.
But Shawn has got the best elbow going by this point. It is it's a thing of beauty, this elbow that he hits at this point, isn't it? He just flies, man.
Massively. And obviously, you know, before that as well, I love Shawn, you having to use the IPO to get the sunset flip. Like, that's great. Obviously, that is where you get your weird bump, as you mentioned, from the Irish whip from Shamrock in there. And I also love like the mirror image of Shawn going for a runner of his own and Shamrock having to counter it with the powerbomb. I think that's really good. Like, drama in there as well. Like you say, ends up with another DX pull out for the beatdown, and that's where things do get a little bit repetitive before the flying elbow, as you mentioned there. But yeah, as you say, sets up for the super kick. Shamrock is he's given it's a positive. He's given the chance to duck it. He's given the chance to get that counter to the belly to belly, as you mentioned. And just as things are going, another DX interference, and that's it for the DQ at 18 minutes. And that's where I have to shit on this match, because like, I really like. Again, as we say, I love the structure of it. I felt like the work was working. I think Shamrock, as a challenger, was getting over, only for it. And I guess I get to thinking about it. We've obviously got the post-match to come in a little bit, and you don't want to beat Shamrock when you're a little bit thin on the babyface side, Steve Austin aside. You obviously can't beat Shawn in this scenario, but coming off the back of a pay-per-view that's had so many of these fuck finishes. I can believe it, except the excessive interference in this one. But like, I think that's maybe the biggest thing that people will beat this show down with. Is just like, God, it is literally the meme, isn't it? Another one? Yeah, another one.
It is a terrible finish. It's a terrible, terrible finish. There's no getting away from it. I wonder, like when the apocrypha of The Undertaker taping his fists at WrestleMania 14, was Steve Austin worried that Shawn Michaels wasn't going to do the job, or was Steve Austin worried that Michaels was going to politic a DQ finish like this and Austin was going to win, but like not get the belt, and he was going to be thought of as like a Lex Luger who beats Yokozuna but doesn't really win the big one? Because this is like the visualization of what like you can imagine like WrestleMania 14 in an alternate universe ends. Like, we're still drinking beers, we're still cheering with Austin, but DX have bloody escaped with the belt this time, and Austin's gonna have to be like, because this is dog shit, isn't it? Like, I get what you're saying about Shamrock being thin on the ground. I wish they'd have had a bit more commitment here and just had Shawn cheat to win. Like, would it have been that bad to have him like?
They get changed then.
Like, yeah, like Triple H and China. Shamrock is such like a raging bull that like they have to both take a leg each while Shamrock's in the corner. And the second the ref goes to just like shoo him away, Shawn just hits like a flash switch in music and wins. And the only reason he's even been able to stop Shamrock is because he's had his two mates cheat, like something, like anything like that.
Because even Shamrock, if you are thin on the ground, I say you're thin on the ground, but you've got fucking Steve Austin right there, so it doesn't really matter. Do you need other baby faces, if we're all honest? Like, do you? Yeah. Like, that much? Like, no, totally. To an extent level, but to a level that can lose to Shawn, like 100%.
Yeah. I didn't like that. Didn't like that.
No. Well, that takes us to the post match, as Shawn is celebrating, as much as you can celebrate, a pretty creatively redundant finish, which kind of undoes all the good work of how well they'd done the interference to that point. But as he's posing, a strange man comes out of the crowd. Michael, I don't know what you make of the way they shoot this. It does all feel a little bit work shoot, brother, but we have a man in a blue tracksuit coming flying out of here as Shawn is posing on the apron, very clearly waiting for it to eventually happen. And yeah, as the camera does, zoom in on it, and you see from behind the blonde hair, Jim Ross gives a "by God, that's Owen Hart" call as Owen triple checks on Shawn as he appears to have possibly broken his nose there. And very clearly the very nice Owen Hart is probably saying to him, "Dude, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Honestly, it wasn't a receipt for Brett. I promise." But Sean's already pissed off. We'll find out the machinations. Sorry.
Every work punch.
We'll find out the come up for that later. But yeah, Owen disappears into the crowd as Hunter checks on him, and we are all left shocked. And I mean, this pay-per-view needed something. It gave us a shocking moment. I remember, at the moment, thinking, "Oh my God, it's Owen Hart." And also, while maybe I didn't fully know the terminology, thinking, "Oh my God, Owen Hart's going to wrestle Shawn Michaels. Owen Hart's a big good guy now. He's a top babyface now. What are we doing?" Again, the way that he potatoed Shawn might come back to bite him. But what do you think of the moment, even if, what comes afterwards, we're probably going to be lampooning on a Housekeeping near you?
It's an underrated attack, isn't it? When they, as you say,
feels real.
The way they shoot it's supposed to feel like a transgression, like it's not supposed to have happened. So you don't actually get the beauty shot until you get a replay of it from a certain angle. And Shawn's bump through one of those old commentary tables looks really organic. It doesn't look like he's been, I don't know if it's because the tables are close enough to the ring, but it doesn't look like he's doing a jumping elbow bump, does it? He just looks like he's been pushed, and Owen's hit him that hard that he's gone flying. And then as well, the way that Owen jumps straight from the ring, perfectly on top of Shawn, the execution of that is flawless. He kind of lands. He doesn't walk out the ring and dive back on him. He himself jumps that exact trajectory that Shawn's done to land straight on top of him, and as you say, inadvertently break his nose. But really effective, and not you've just made the point about Ken Shamrock, and you can make it about Owen Hart as well. It is really strange and admirable, I guess, to be trying to protect and make new top baby faces when Hulk Hogan Mark II is in the match 10 minutes earlier. I kind of admire it. Do it. But it is ultimately okay that these supposed other top baby faces don't really cut the mustard, because your top guy is such a top guy. Hogan just needed some mates once in a while. He didn't actually need a slate of like baby faces on his level, did he? He just needed the odd tag partner from time to time. Steve Austin doesn't even need tag partners. His whole gimmick is that he doesn't have tag partners. Like, so like
doesn't even need you people, the fans, you know, like literally that's the point they're making, isn't it? You know,
like we can cry all the necessary political tears we have to when it comes to someone like Owen Hart's push in the next Housekeeping and beyond. But like, I think this is as good as this angle would ever get. I'll be nice to it. And it's funny that when Owen gets like chased out the building by security or whatever, it's funny how DX are in the ring and like it's as if they've won. It's a nice one, we did it. And like Shawn's lost by DQ and he's had his arse handed to him. But the closing shot is the three of them. It's like, way, he sold out DX. We did it. You know, it's like that again is very NWO, where it's just like, just pose anyway, just pose through it. And people still think you're the best guys, even if you've just lost another match by DQ. Very outsiders, that, isn't it?
Very, very much so. He's very much his mate, isn't he? And I'm interested in when we get to the Housekeeping, like to relive this Owen stuff. How I'm going, because obviously, as you mentioned, the IWC take's going to be this is bullshit, Shawn is wrong, and all of that. But I can imagine maybe there'll be a part of like the Shawn brain in me where I can kind of understand what he's thinking. It's like, it's this guy that I used to wrestle for the Intercontinental title. Now I've got to wrestle him for the World title. Surely I'm past that at this point. You know, maybe I'll lean that way. But also, this is, as you mentioned, the hottest Owen will feel. It was a genuine, at least to me sat at home, surprise in the moment. It got the pop that you'd want it to. It's revenge for Montreal, like happening on their TV rather than, Brett down south mouthing off about it. Instead, there is something to capitalize onto here as well. So it'll be interesting to see who wins out in the logic when we get to some of those Raws. But yeah, any other thoughts on that? The angle, the show as a whole, as bad as everyone says. I mean, we've had fun talking about it, but this has been quite a one to get through.
Well, it was dire. It was dire. Like, I don't know. Like, I was thinking about where to put this when we talk about like our all-time lows. I think it's weird, right? Because the Austin stuff is so brilliant. It's almost like you can't. He makes it impossible to include it on that bottom rung, doesn't he? Like, In Your House 4 doesn't have this Steve Austin Rock match. Revenge of the Taker, as you pointed out earlier in the review, gets an Austin match wrong, really.
Yeah,
like,
true.
What were some of the other, like, sort of absolute stinkers that we've covered along the way? I can't. It's Time was pretty awful. Like, what were the redeeming features of It's Time? The executioner rolling into a moat and Shawn Michaels being really funny on commentary.
We did laugh about the moat, to be fair.
Yeah,
we had a good time.
It's Time hasn't got Steve Austin backdropping D'Lo Brown onto a car, has it? He is. True. When you've got somebody saving the entire business, it's kind of impossible to just out and out kill it as a show. But it's a dire experience outside of that. It really is poor.
Drab is the word, like that emotion that I felt, like that, I'm really going to turn this on kind of feeling I going into it because of everything I felt in 1997. Yeah, it was the same when I watched it back. Outside of how good, like, Austin Rock was, like, really, like, it's mad that we are on the cusp of the biggest period in this country, in this company's history. I'm going to say countries then, but I think that's kind of true too. But in this company's history is coming, and it really does feel like how it felt when I was reading Power Slam in December 1997. Oh, dude, I haven't got long here. Like, despite the fact that Steve Austin is right there staring at me, I still get that feeling like, it does feel like the end times. Luckily, mentally, I know that's not what's coming. It's the opposite that's coming. But maybe when we get into the Rumble on Housekeeping, there's a few things to say about that as well. But it feels thin on the ground. It feels like there's as many bad ideas as good, and there's a genuine worry they're not going to figure it out here in the December of 1997. But again, luckily we're doing this 30 years later, mate, and we do no different.
I used this example in the last podcast when I said, once again, Eric Bischoff on Christmas Day 1997 was not worried, was he? He was not worried. Like, he did not see the iceberg. But I'll just say this now because I've been saving this bit of information till this very bit of the podcast. Loads of people will know about this. It came out years later in various legal paperwork and the like. But let us not forget that right around the time of this pay-per-view, consider the points we've just made about the need in inverted commas for undercard baby faces, even though the top one was right there, the red carpet was being rolled out for Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let us not forget that around the time of D-Generation X In Your House, Vince McMahon had an offer on the table for the Ultimate Warrior. Like, you cannot you cannot.
Would you have done that instead of Sarge? If someone put a gun to your head, would you pick that instead?
I mean, I want to look at it because it would be quite the WrestleMania 12 rematch, wouldn't it? I bet your Hunter's getting a bit more than a pedigree kick out in a boot camp match against the Warrior. But like, this particular show married up with the fucking Ultimate Warrior, it like, what's he doing? Like, what's he doing? What is the Ultimate Warrior doing on the same card as a van driving Steve Austin? It doesn't bear. Like, by the way, like 4 calendar weeks after Vince has said, like, yeah, Brett's got to go, I can't afford him. Like, it's just like.
If there was ever a sign he literally hasn't figured out yet what's working. That's still it, isn't it?
Still not. He's still not there. Amazing.
Staring him right in the face. But again, luckily we get the good times, hopefully, covered soon, and especially on some of those housekeepings. But yeah, outside of that, anything else to say, Michael, on this one, or what we've got to come? Very much looking forward to the build to No Way Out, and again, we got a couple of those moments on that one as well. But yeah, so it should be some fun housekeepings to come.
I am glad to see the back of this show, but I'm not glad to see the back of an era, because as of Netflix now, if that's the service you use to watch your Fed shows, you will have to go find No Way Out Texas in a No Way Out section. We have come to
In Your House is Dead, according to Netflix.
In Your House back catalogue. So it's just one more nail in the coffin of that beloved green, blue, and pink logo. Even we've stuck a nail in it with our season 2 graphics. But like, it's just one more goodbye. There's a few more to go, isn't there? A few more to go, but another goodbye.
I've forgotten that.
Era that will fondly.
Netflix going by the VHS rules. Like I say, like a lot of those Wikipedia people will as well. But no, naming convention rules are correct. And now we're just midway through season 2, mate. There's nothing to worry about here. It still says In Your House. It's just getting smaller. Don't worry. But it'll always say Benno and Hamflett on the marquee. So at least there's that. It's
we said this before. Even when they're shite, they're fun to talk about, aren't they?
There you go. That's this period summed up. But yeah, outside of that, mate, then anything else to plug? Anything else to anywhere to send people before we are back in 2 weeks? We don't expect the next one to be a double housekeeping, but don't hold us to it. Pretty sure it'll be a one-timer this time. But yeah, that's to look forward to. But what else should people be checking out?
Very much the usual, Benno. What Culture Wrestling is where you can normally find me if you're not sick of me from these double wide, double deep podcasts that we do on this particular period of time. 1/3 of the Dudley Boys. We review Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, all the pay-per-views, premium live events. We do reviews and previews of those. Myself and Michael Sidgwick have also got a series, Dilemma Lena, which is gaining popularity, which is just where we kind of like chew through a few of the one or the other coin flip dilemmas that you might get in the wrestling fan community. You can message Sidge at msidgwick on Twitter if you ever want to try getting involved in one of them in the future. And yeah, just Google What Culture Wrestling for all of our usual slate of content, podcasts, all that good stuff. And the only other thing I can think to plug, I guess, before you get around to it, is get yourself in the Grapple Patreon Discord and have a word with some of the people that were given the keys to a very important kingdom on a certain podcast lately. Because in my view, I think the public need to revolt on some of the decisions being made. Justice. I've had a go at Roman Reigns. I've even had a little pop at Steve Austin. Justice for Matthew Edwards, because that man was flying a flag and then he was getting it torn out of his hands by 3 charlatans on the otherwise absolutely wonderful Grapple World Cup podcast. One of the great podcasts of 2026. I
think Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle is the new Brett versus Shawn, I think, going forwards. But
I'm going to smash maybe we can, it's too soon. I can't. Like
tag team match going forward, then maybe we'll do that. We'll like I say, match for match, promo for promo. Big house for big house. I don't know. Maybe Joe's losing the argument there, but anyway, there could be something in it. But no, like obviously, Michael alluded to the Grapple Hall of Fame, which pretty much that has been the reaction to it. The Grapple World Cup, for a Hall of Fame place. We've pretty much everyone who's commented has gone, I really enjoyed the show, but you're fucking dead wrong about this. And if you know anything from podcasting, Michael, that tends to mean you've probably done a pretty good show. At least that's what I'm telling myself. As people that beat we angered like the old school All Japan fans. We angered the Kurt Angle fans. I even angered myself. Spoilers there on maybe one of my favorite wrestlers. I had to choose between 2 of my very favorites, and you will obviously possibly know, listening to this, who those 2 very favorites were. Managed to piss off even me, mate. So I think that's a job well done when it comes to the Grapple World Cup. But yeah, that is on our Patreon. There's find out who we determine should go into the Grapple Hall of Fame. 32 wrestlers. None of this woke nonsense with the World Cup this year. 32 knockouts as well, straight to it. And yeah, we debate and figure out who should win. So yeah, that's out. Obviously, yeah, my pub quiz will be coming out this weekend as well. So check that out. There'll be a Shawn round, there'll be a Punk round as well. I'm sitting in there as I'm putting through the final work on some of those questions, and yeah, plenty more where that came from. Obviously, yeah, we've just recently done NXT Takeover Brooklyn 3 flashback on top of some stuff on Progress Manchester as well. So yeah, check that out if you haven't already. Patreon.com/Grapple.
Well, I guess, Benno, until next time, delving back into the murky world of late 1997 World Wrestling Federation. And not too much longer, unfortunately. Thanks for the house.
See ya.
Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.